that outfit?
Not the whole outfit, no shirt. Just black sweatpants.
I don't remember that.
No, he was outside watching his car.
The Two Count, where comedy meets wrestling. Please comment, share, and like, and if you're watching the live stream, join us with your comments and questions. And now here are the hosts of The Two Count, comedian John Russell, and wrestling broadcaster Big Ace.
Hey everybody, good to see you. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday evening to you. John Russell here alongside Big Ace. How you doing, Ace?
Hello, how's it going?
Could be going better. This has been a full day for me already. I babysat my granddaughter while my grandson went to his doctor's appointment, which was at 10 o'clock this morning. And then I came home and started, doing some things. And I got another phone call, and it was, hey, would you like to come and pick up your grandson from the ER? Your granddaughter, who you were just babysitting, swallowed 2 pennies, and they were stuck in her throat. So it was, to say the least, I mean, she's okay. They whatever the hell they did, but it worked, I guess. I don't know. And here I am, so...
Did you get to ask her why she thought she should eat the pennies?
No, because it's probably not a good idea for me to be near her, after she's done something like that. Although she's just such a sweet little thing, and I'm like, how can you do that? But she does weird stuff every once in a while. I think she takes after her grandmother. Hello, Billy J. We're happy to see you, my friend. Good to see you. And it is official now. It is official now, so that's the best part of the show. She wanted her 2 cents were stuck in her craw. Is kind of the way I'm thinking of it. But we have a
stage though, trial and error.
Oh, I know. It's so here's the thing. We have an awesome show tonight, and one of the reasons it's awesome, and I have to tell you this story, because the two people that we're going to have on, I've known one of them for quite a while, and he and I did a comedy interview at the beginning of COVID. We've worked together, and so I knew him. And you and I went down to the IPW 20th anniversary show in Des Moines, and I saw this character with a Burger King hat on, and I'm like, I know that guy. Isn't that Bill Blank? And then I think to myself, well, why the hell would Bill Blank be here? Because I mean, but here's how stupid it is, right? Because I'm there, and I can only assume that he looked at me and we talked, and he said, why would
it made more sense for him to be there?
Yeah, why? And it's like, why would you be there? And he says, well, my son is one of the wrestlers. My son is Jaxon King. And I'm like, oh my God. And he had just wrestled, against Lil Nate, and did a fantastic job. And and the funny part about it is we were so excited to see Jaxon King because Zach Takes from Shotgun Wrestling was telling us, oh, you're just not going to believe how this kid has a hold of this audience. This guy, he totally, and by the way, I don't mean that as an insult. Everybody to me that seems like they're younger than me as a kid. Ace, you're a kid to me and you're 40, right? Or 30 whatever.
I'm definitely a kid. I'm definitely a kid to you. When you were talking about being in college, I was like, I was born 2 years before that.
Yeah, so I know. So shush.
I am a kid
so anyway.
But you're right, though, because luckily that night we got to do the commentary, me and Zach.
Yeah.
And he was saying before Jackson's song hit, he's like, dude, last time like people were losing their minds, and he's like, it's gonna get loud when his music hits, because we were already anticipating like the crowd was hot.
Oh yeah,
the first time to have a crowd back, you know, and it's just good to be out at a show that coming back now. So, you know, like he was like, it's gonna be good, and it was. Like I even looked at him while we were doing the commentary. I was like, give him a little nod, like you weren't wrong. Like people are getting behind this kid, and I've been out of it for a little while. Like I haven't been able to keep up.
Well, yeah,
all things IPW and Iowa wrestling for a little while now. Now we're getting back into it. So yeah, I was very surprised to see some really great youngins coming out at that 20th anniversary show and just taking over the crowd. It was great, and Jaxon definitely did that.
Anyway, I don't want to put it off any longer, because we've got these fellows here with us, and ladies and gentlemen, give, if you can, a cheer, a thumbs up, whatever you want to do for Jaxon King and his father, Bill Blank. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you tonight?
Good. We're doing well, man. It's good to see you. And yeah, that was amazing. I had seen you earlier in the night, and it's funny to hear you, because I was like, why would John Russell be here?
Yeah.
I was, and then at the end, when we finally locked eyes, the connection, it was obvious. Like, oh, it is you. What in the hell?
It was so funny to me, because I told Ace, I'm like, I'm gonna go over here because I think I know this guy, and I'm like, I don't know if I don't. So, but oh yeah, it was insane, and so I was very tickled and surprised at that. And then of course Jaxon, and then of course Jaxon absolutely kills it against Little Nate. Congratulations again, sir. I mean, and so it had to be really special for you, because first of all, you've got this whole crew that your father arranged with Burger King crowns on for Jaxon King, which is, dude, the best thing I think I've ever seen. I mean, holy cow, you got to get them as a sponsor.
Yeah, so basically before the show started, we all went out there to kind of see if we can sell some merchandise, say hi to the fans, and I'm talking to my grandmother, and she wants to take a picture. So we're taking a selfie, and then I see some dude photobomb us wearing a Burger King crown, and I turn around, and it's this one, and I see him and all of his friends wearing them, and I'm like, oh my God.
Well, that has to make you feel good, though, Jaxon.
It's awesome.
And the reality is that you guys have been off, and I know that you guys have been trying to, with IPW, you've been trying to do some online shows, right?
Yeah. So the last show that we had in Des Moines before the pandemic hit was in February of 2020, and that was where I debuted. And I was in their instant ticket match. So there was probably about 30 guys in this match. And that was one of the craziest nights ever. Like I just woke up that day so nervous I didn't eat. And that was a big mistake, because after the match, I went in the back. I never told anybody this, but I went in the back and I puked.
Ugh.
And yeah, it was really fun, though. It was nuts. And it was just, I was really appreciative that, you know, so many people, like on our Saturday night, they all came to come watch me wrestle. And it was an even better feeling to finally say that we got to be back there.
Yeah, no kidding. So Ace, go ahead and hop right in if you've got questions. I mean, I have so many questions of these two guys simply because I know Bill, and it's just like I like. First of all, I'm curious, Jaxon, because I know your father played baseball. So in high school, were you athletic? Did you do a lot of sports?
I played basketball and baseball from when I was 3 years old until my senior year of high school. And the only reason why I stopped was because I had the opportunity to train to be a wrestler.
Okay.
So I kind of just said, you know what, screw it. I've always wanted to do this. I'm going to go for it.
I'm always, oh, go ahead.
And did I miss playing sports with my friends? I absolutely did. But like, I feel like there's a difference between missing something and regretting it. Like, of course I miss playing baseball and basketball with all my friends, but I didn't regret making the decision to stop.
Nice. I'm always interested in origin stories. So I think the obvious question for both of you would be, like, how did it all begin for you, Jaxon, to where, you know, you got that opportunity to wrestle? And then Bill, opposite to you, how do you all of a sudden find stand-up comedy and that becomes your guys' main focus in careers
now? Well, I mean, stand-up for me just came from it. Stand-up kind of finds you in a way. I mean, from the time I was about, I remember there was a kid that every summer came and stayed across the street from me with his grandparents, and he had a Eddie Murphy cassette.
Nice.
Which was basically the Delirious special. And his grandparents couldn't hear, so we would sit in the back porch and play it and
nice,
just laugh our balls off. And so stand-up was always attractive to me. And I just remember as a teenager thinking that'd be the coolest job ever. George Carlin, when I was 16, I watched George Carlin jamming in New York on HBO, and I was like, that's like Jesus right there. And so I just thought it would be cool, but I didn't think it was realistic. I was like anybody else. You know, if you're not famous, it's not real.
Right.
And so I just started going to this open mic as a spectator for a while. I watched enough bad comics to feel like I could do it. And I saw some good ones that I felt like I could hang out with. And that's when I realized that you could make a living and not be famous. And once I realized that, the gloves were pretty much off to where, all right, this is what I'm doing. And I went up for the first time and I got addicted right away. And, you know, that's pretty much how it went down. And I stuck to it his whole life, basically, because I just didn't want him to grow up feeling like he had to conform to what everybody thinks he's supposed to do, and they can actually do what makes him happy. And so I wanted him. That's why I never moved away or anything. You know, him and his mom got divorced when he was about 3. And so, like, I never left or anything because I didn't want to be absent and have him resent my job. I wanted him to think my job was cool. And so that's what I was hoping would happen. And I wanted him to pursue his own happiness, whatever that may be. So I either blessed him or cursed him because, you know, I think he might have picked the one path more difficult than the one I picked.
Yeah. Very parallel, though. Very parallel, though.
I mean, 100%. I mean, I've learned so much about stand-up from watching wrestling. And I love what I'm addicted to is charisma.
Mm-hmm.
And so my favorite wrestlers were always the best shit talkers, you know?
Yes.
Like, I mean, I just about a month or two ago just went down this Macho Man rabbit hole on YouTube and lost my mind just crying, laughing. I mean, the times where like Mean Gene can't hold it together and like he was amazing. And then The Rock was one of my favorites before it was cool for him to be one of your favorites, you know?
Right.
I mean, my number one all-time favorite wrestler is Scott Hall. He's always been my favorite. So, you know, I just always liked those guys. And when he was a kid, he loved it. So, you know, we watched it. It was, you know, I've always been kind of a casual fan. But like back when like they had the Nitro and Raw and all that going on, I was just turning like 2021 and we would party every Monday night and watch wrestling and just loved it when Goldberg had the streak and all that. I mean, we had so much fun. I mean, it wasn't all about the wrestling. I mean, we were partying.
Yeah.
Like that was the reason, it was great.
I miss that almost. Like I remember like Raw and Nitro both back in those days would cut into like people's home parties where they would take over like a campus or a dorm. And it was just like, man, why can't I be there watching Raw or Nitro? These guys.
Oh yeah,
that's how
definitely.
Yeah. So
now
Jaxon,
I'm, like, falling asleep halfway through Raw.
Yeah. So Jaxon, tell me, because your dad said you started watching it at a young age, and so did you? I mean, did you literally always say, "This is what I want to do"?
I mean, yeah. Basically, the way how I got into it was, I don't know how I remember this, but
that's how we played. I mean, we wrestled. When we were little.
I mean, like how I first got into it was when I was in kindergarten. This kid that was in my class, he came to school at least every other day wearing a John Cena shirt. And I asked him about it, like, who is this guy? And, he told me what it was, and I watched it the next time it was on TV at home. Surprisingly, my mom let me watch it, but I did watch it, and it just, next thing I know it, I'm watching all of it, then I'm getting the action figures, the video games. Me and my stepbrother at the time would get in trouble for trying to wrestle and would actually hurt each other. So we would get put in timeout quite often. And then, just after I kept getting more and more into it and just going to it whenever it was in town, I was kind of just like, I kind of want to do this. Like, I feel like I could do it. And when I was...
What about the first time? You got to tell them about the first time you went to
Raw. Yeah, the first time I went to Monday Night Raw, my dad got me and my stepbrother at the time. He got his tickets to Monday Night Raw for Christmas, and they weren't probably that expensive. We were like kind of higher up.
I didn't pay for them.
No.
Happy Christmas.
So he gets us a ticket. He gets us the tickets, and we get there. We get to our seats, and I think did we have the same seats as somebody else, and we had to move?
No, there was a jib arm where our seats were supposed to be.
Okay, so
because they would film a couple SmackDown matches before.
Oh yeah.
So so there's really no way of knowing when you go in if that's going to happen.
So we were in like the risers, but we were kind of like in the middle. So we walked down to the security guard at the floor, and we like said, "So hey, we can't sit here. Is there anywhere else?"
They moved us down a little bit
I know.
First.
Yeah, so they moved us somewhere else, and then that's when we had the same seats as somebody and had to move. So we went to security guard and said, "Hey, we have these guys have the same seats." Oh, I don't remember. I was 8. So we're just like, where do we go sit? And he goes, "Well, there's 3 seats right over there. Those guys aren't coming, and we can't have those seats empty on TV. Front row ringside, right behind Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler."
Oh, wow.
So we got moved there. Yeah, so we got moved there right before the live TV Monday Night Raw started, and me and my stepbrother, we were decked out in John Cena hats and shirts and all that stuff. And so the show itself got over, but they did a match after the show. I don't really know. Like sometimes they'll do dark matches just for fun, give the fans. And John Cena, he was in that match. He wrestled Sheamus, and the show got over. He won his match. He started high-fiving fans, and my dad grabbed a hold of us and like held us over the barricade so we could stick our hands out to try and get a high five. And he was high-fiving everybody, and then he acted like he was gonna leave. He acted like he was gonna leave, so we were all like, "Oh, dang!" And then all of a sudden, he just starts laughing, and he comes back and grabs a hold of us and like hugs me and my stepbrother and like said, "I saw you guys on TV all night." And we were just like, "Oh my God." And like John Cena just touched us. Like it was one of the craziest things. And
how awesome.
Yeah. But basically,
so I couldn't top that. That's his first one. What am I going to do the rest of his life?
Yeah. Crying out loud. You could give him a bar of gold and it wouldn't match, right?
And I didn't. The thing is, I didn't spend a dime. I was like the best dad on planet Earth, and I just had some friends in the right places. And Yeah, we had the front row thing was complete luck. It was just we had to move, and a guy with a headset walked up and he said, "Here's 3 ringside, go down, sit ringside." And so there we were the whole night. We used to have I don't have the DVR anymore, but at the time I was on my TiVo for about 6 years.
I suppose.
I've had so many wrestling shows on my like home recording that's like you record it and right when you get back to town and go home, it's like there I am. Everybody see me? I gotta pause it and show everyone. There I am. I went to one of the Christmas Raws a few years ago. I went to one of the Christmas Raws and Hogan came out as Hogan Claus. And so he comes out and he's all dressed as Santa in the red and yellow. And the first crowd shot they went to, JR, was me and Lou right like on the barricade because we were just to the side of the announcer's table. And we both had like Hogan shirts. Like it was our podcast Hogan shirt. So really it was making fun of him, but he didn't know that. And then we had like signs for him. And we were the first like close up of the crowd shot for that. Oh, it was great. It was like, look, there we are. Look, and we're cut from Hogan to me. Yeah, I win. I win.
Life is all about your personal victories.
It is. Right. So personal victory though for you, Jaxon, has got to be when you start training, right?
So basically how that all happened, I was a sophomore, I want to say, in high school. And my best friend, his dad, had a new girlfriend, and her daughter was a wrestler.
Okay,
she still is. Queen Bee, Brooke Valentine.
Oh, very talented wrestler.
Yeah. So I met her that weekend, and when I went and stayed over there with my best friend, and there was coincidentally a Des Moines show that same weekend. So we went to it, and it was the night where she won her first women's title. And, when I was there, I was like telling her, like, like I've loved wrestling my whole life. I've always wanted to do it. And they kind of just, I was only like 15 at the time, so I had to wait a little while, but they introduced me to like the trainer and the promoter and just all the kind of the main guys at IPW. And when I was a senior in high school, I talked to them about training, and they just said like, we'd be really excited to have you. And so I just I was at a Des Moines show. I talked to James Jeffries. I think I was 17. Yeah, because I started training just a couple months later. So that's when the next class started. I talked to James Jeffries at a show, and we were just talking about training, and when I had the money to do it, I just said, screw it. I'm going to go for it and just see what happens.
Hell yeah.
So
that's awesome.
I started training in October of 2019. It was a 4-month training program. And best thing I say is that James is a outstanding trainer, and he's a great teacher. And, I can't thank those guys enough for helping me start my wrestling
I'll tell you what,
career.
Mr. James Jeffries is like probably the nicest human being you will ever meet. I swear to God.
Dude, yes, he is one of the James is an amazing.
What's crazy for me though is when I first got into IPW, it's been almost probably 8 to 10 years now ago when I started going to the big Waterloo Hall of Fame weekend, and that's how I became involved with IPW. Jeffries was still kind of the kid then. And it's crazy that now we're coming back from this like year off and like going to that first show and seeing how James is not the kid anymore. Like you guys are, and he's now kind of passing that all down. What was that class? What was that class like? Because it was who's all the trainers? It's Jeffries, Justin Deason do some of that as well? Was TS involved at all?
So when we're in the 4-month training, it's James Jeffries and TS Aggressor. And like I said earlier, both outstanding teachers and also great individuals. And then after the 4 months, you kind of transition to an open gym on Sundays where you can go to the vault where we train in Collins, Iowa, and we just kind of work on whatever we need just to work on to improve. And that's what Justin Decent runs. And I also owe a lot to Justin Decent, because when I was in the training program, I was so nervous and so shy. Like, I could barely talk. Like, I was just so shy and just, and, when I would do matches, I'd be so nervous and like struggled with like charisma. And like Justin was kind of one of those guys that told me to just go have fun. Like, if you're not enjoying it, then what's the point? And ever since, he kind of just helped me with that. He's someone that kind of helped me come out of my shell a lot.
So let me ask you this. And if it's something that you can't say, forgive me and just tell me. So in your 4 months training, okay, is that a daily deal? Is that a couple of days a week? I mean, how intense is the training with IPW?
It was so Saturdays was kind of the main day. Okay. When I was I don't really know how different it is now. So when I was there, we would have Saturdays, which was from, I think, around 10 or 11 a.m. to kind of late afternoon, early evening. And that's kind of when we would learn new stuff. And Tuesday was kind of our review day, where we would go over the stuff that we just learned to see how well we're kind of picking up on everything. And so it was usually 2 to 3 classes a week for about 4 months.
Okay.
It was, there were times where it was tough, and there was also times where it was really good. But wrestling is, if it was easy, it was like in this type of wrestling, if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah. If it was easy, I'd do it.
But
so let me ask you this. So from the day that you started your training until your actual first in front of an audience match, how long was that?
Yeah. So I started training in October of 2019, and I debuted in February of 2020. So it was about a 4.5 month.
Okay. So
program.
So pretty quick right after. And then of course you get hit with the pandemic.
Yeah.
And
so wait, real quick. You have not been to the Hall of Fame weekend yet, have you?
I have not. I am extremely excited to be. Because the one, So the one in 2020, had to get called off, unfortunately, because of the pandemic. But and I was excited. But I am excited that we get to do it this year, and I'm excited just to experience it and see how fun it is, because I haven't heard a single bad thing about it, and it's going to be a really good time.
Yeah, we got good old Zach Takes in there saying that you're in for a treat, and he's not wrong.
Yeah.
You thought they were loud when you were. I mean, okay, I will say this though: it's a smaller room in Des Moines, so you do hear them better. But I mean, the crowd gets hot at that show, and you're gonna love getting out there in front of them.
Oh yeah,
it's a special show.
I've looked up. I went on YouTube before. When it started to come up, I went on YouTube and kind of looked up shows specifically from Waterloo, and it's just like, wow, this looks like a blast.
To this day, one of the best live matches I've ever seen in person, WWE, AEW, anything I've ever seen in my life, was at one of those weekends, and it was Ricochet and Sami Callihan, and they just tore the house down. It's a special show, man. I can't wait to see you come out and get to experience that. I'm going to get it from a whole different point of view, it sounds like, this year, because we might actually be doing the commentary for it this year. So that will be new for me, but I'm excited to get down there with you guys and be a part of it. JR will be, it's his first time going to be out there this year.
Jim Ross is going to be there.
That's going to be a cool, the cool thing, like, to make a parallel, there's nothing like performing in front of an audience of nothing but wrestling fans. Just like there's nothing like performing in front of an audience of nothing but comedy fans.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a whole different level. Like that's when you don't have to be the guy selling the tickets.
Yeah.
Very true.
It's fantastic. So let me ask you this quick, Bill. Mm-hmm. As Jaxon is going through his training and all of this, are you? I mean, how is he communicating to you that he's digging it? Or is he? Or is he just, as he mentioned, he's nervous when he's there? Is it? I mean, between the two of you, let me know, because it's so interesting to me, because Bill, I know that you had to, in essence, take that same path to a degree when you started doing comedy. I mean, you're there with other people, but it's an individual sport.
Yeah. He never came to me and told me he was nervous. All he ever did was tell me he loved it. That's all he ever told me.
Beautiful.
He never talked to me about lacking any confidence. He never talked to me about being nervous. He just told me that he loved it. I just knew when he came to me and told me that he legit was going to do this. Like, basically what he did was he took all the money from his graduation. Like, my dad had a piggy bank for him his whole life and whatever. He took all that money, and that's how he paid for the training.
Nice.
And, I mean, he got it fronted to him because he hadn't graduated yet.
Sure. Sure.
But he he was saying he wanted to quit all of his high school sports. And he said he played, he played baseball and basketball that whole time, but he played football up until high school. He played tennis in high school. He ran cross country. I mean, he was always doing something. So it was kind of weird for him to just quit everything his senior year, obviously.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I knew I was screwed. I mean, I've been telling jokes for a living his entire existence.
Yeah.
So I'm the last person that can tell him that it's unrealistic. I'm the last person that can say I'm a complete and total hypocrite if I discourage it.
Yeah.
So, like, I just told him from the jump that it's going to take more hard work and sacrifice than you ever imagined it would take going into it. But if you love it enough, you'll put in the work. But he's chosen a much more difficult path. I mean, it's, comics, we love to talk about how we drove 12 hours for $100.
Yep.
Stayed in a shithole hotel and blah, blah, blah. Well, he's going to do the same thing for like $40 and bruised ribs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, it's a completely different. I mean, it's the same, but it's so much harder.
Oh yeah. Oh,
so for him to choose something that's even harder than what I had chosen, I'd be lying if I said as a father I wasn't worried.
Yeah.
But what I can say is, he's the happiest that I've ever seen him.
And that's all that counts, right?
So that's victory in my book, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So Jaxon, that first match that you had in front of people, were you how nervous were you? And what was the outcome? And were you happy regardless of what the outcome was? Because I mean, everybody obviously wants to win.
Yeah. Basically, the day of that show, I just woke up like I was so terrified and just like, I was kind of just like, oh my God, this is like actually happening. Like this is about to happen. And, when I went out there that night, when the doors opened before the show started, and I saw like, like my whole damn near my whole family was there. And then so many people from school came.
Nice.
And it was just
he probably sold about 80 tickets to that show.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Hell yeah.
So, I was, my match, it was the instant ticket match. So basically there was like 30 something people in that match trying to find a hidden golden ticket, and whoever found it and put it in this box that was hung up on the top rope got number one contenders match.
Oh,
it's kind of like similar. It's kind of similar to Money in the Bank. Like you win the contract and you have a year to cash it in.
Okay.
So for that instant ticket, if you win this ticket, you have a whole year to have a title match whenever you want. And so I was in the instant ticket match, and at first I wasn't really going to tell very many people about it. And because I wanted to, at first I kind of had the mindset of just like getting the feel for everything on what it's like. And I can't remember who I was talking to, and they said, because it was one of the IPW guys that was wrestling longer. Oh, it was actually James. I was talking to James about it, and James like told me like, no, try to get as many people to the show as you can. That's gonna do like nothing but help you.
Yeah.
So I was just like, and I made it public on Facebook, and I was getting messages left and right for like how to get tickets. And so the show's going on, and that match wasn't until that was the main event.
Nice.
And when they announced that it was time for that match, everyone started chanting Jaxon King. And I'm standing behind the curtain waiting to come out and just like, okay, come on, man. I'm standing behind the curtain just like, okay, don't cry. Wait till later. Don't start right now. So the match goes on, and my adrenaline was going so crazy. You can even ask my dad. I got gassed in the first 20 seconds in that match. And I kind of just had to roll outside of the ring and kind of just like stand there for a second just to like catch my breath, because my adrenaline was going so nuts when I went out there. I got so tired so quick. It just showed that how bad my cardio was. And I also made the same mistake of not eating that day. I was so nervous. I threw up after the match.
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah. So, but I was so nervous, but like I mentioned earlier, wrestler, a lot of people were just giving me advice and just like saying like, don't think about it. Don't worry about this and that. Just go out there and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just what I did. And
do you remember the Mike Tyson thing I told you?
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
Turn your fear into fire. Turn your fear into fire.
No. Well, I'm sure I've heard you say that a lot of times, but
I love it.
So
I love
at this
it.
point, it's like Dad's just doing voices again.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Jim Jeffries said this and this and this, and it's like God said it. I've been telling you that since you were 6, you little shit.
I mean, but have you seen James Jeffries' hair?
It is godlike.
Pretty glorious. Pretty glorious.
They do have a good point. James does have
he's got a good head of hair.
So this match happens, and then lo and behold, we hit this pandemic. All right. So first of all, and Bill, you and I have talked about this, and we'll touch on it a little bit too. But Jaxon, when that happened, were you like depressed immediately? Because I know I was depressed when I knew I couldn't go out and do shows.
It was, if I'm going to be completely honest, it was absolutely like heartbreaking, because after that show, our next show that we had was set for March, and I was supposed to actually wrestle the champion. And yeah, so the pandemic hit, and it was terrible because it was, at first I was just kind of like, I just did all this training, just had this big debut, and now, God only knows when we'll be able to wrestle again. And so, it sucked. And then kind of later on in that year, we started doing the Facebook live shows, which really, it helped all of us just to kind of stay consistent with wrestling and kind of just staying in show mode, because we did know eventually that the world's going to get better and we will be back there.
Yeah.
And so the Facebook live shows was something that helped us a ton, and it benefited everybody. Because not just the wrestlers, but the fans also, because they had something. I think it was every other Sunday when we did them. The fans had something, every other Sunday to look forward to, and so did us.
Yeah. So now
you said that was the golden ticket match you debuted in?
Yeah, the instant ticket. Yeah, the instant ticket match.
This is how like my mind works. I'm literally taking notes for when I have to do commentary for you in a few weeks. So I'm gonna use some of this, Jack.
We're doing show prep.
When that show ended, that first show, I was a mess. Like, I finally, you know. It was like I saw him make that connection where it was like, oh, I found my thing. Like it was just he finally got that moment where he got to be confident in himself, and he, you know, I could just tell that it was such a definitive thing, and I was so happy. I remember afterwards, I just couldn't even. I mean, all my friends were there. I mean, I've got video. There's video that I'm taking during that match because we all just assumed like first match he's probably gonna come in and be like, you know, fucking Barry Horowitz, you know, like we're all thinking he's gonna jump in there and get beat up by somebody or something, and it'll be a fun thing.
Just pop the old schoolers, right?
But there. Like from the jump, people are chanting his name. I mean, because. Half of his high school was there.
Yeah,
I had 30 people. I bought 30 tickets, so I had 30. His mom had another double-digit amount, and then any other family member did it on their own. So I mean, he had a good 80 people there.
Wow!
And so his name's getting chanted from the moment it even starts, and he doesn't even come on until the end.
Oh my God!
And, so we all just thought he'd just get beat up a little bit. Well, you know, those guys obviously know how to put on a show and what the crowd wants. And so he came out and had, you know, a huge shining moment. I mean, he came out and Hurricane Rona'd like 4 guys and body slammed a guy, you know, pinned a guy out and did his finisher on the big ticket, you know, and everybody just went nuts. And you like, I'm videoing it when it's happening. And then all of a sudden you just see the camera just goes all over the place because all my friends are jumping on my back, you know, like it was just, I mean, it's just amazing for me. All the people that have been my support system are now his.
Yeah.
And they're 100 times more rabid about it. Like, it's insane. It's so fun. I have the time of my life at these shows.
So your first debut match, you were still in high school, you said, right?
Yeah, I was no, I was halfway through. I was my senior year. I was 17 when I debuted.
How old are you now?
I just turned 19 a couple weeks ago.
I have to ask. Maybe Dad will appreciate this or not, but I mean, you debut. You're a senior in high school. I mean, if that was me in that position, it would be total big dick energy walking to school that next day. I'd be like, what's up, everybody? I'm the shit. Like, did you see what I did this weekend? Like, how fun was that, though, to just walk into school after that debut match and just be like,
no, it was... No, when I went to school... You good?
Sorry. Made me laugh.
So, no, because that show was on a Saturday. So the Sunday before school, you know, I never wanted to be like that person that was just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm all that. Like I'm better than whoever, get on my level, you know? So I kind of just went in there. I tried to just go in there like it was just a normal day of going to school, honestly. And if, you know, I had a lot of people like come up to me, you know, give hugs, tell me good job. And I just said, you know, thank you, means a lot. I appreciate it. Cause I didn't want to go in there and just kind of be like, yeah, I know I did a good job. Did you not see what I just did? Like, I kind of just walked in there just like it was just an ordinary Monday at school. Just like, oh, I don't want to go to school. So, but you know, I had a lot of people like come up to me, like tell me good job and stuff like that. And I was, you know, really appreciative with all the support that everyone has showed.
He wants to know if you got laid. That's what he wants to know.
No.
Not for that.
No, I did not.
So Dan, so here's the thing. Dan is one of our longtime viewers from Sheboygan, Wisconsin. I don't know where you moved, Dan, so we figure that out. But he says, and I agree. You give me the impression right now that you're a very humble guy, and that's. I mean, as you said, you're not out there. You're there when you're on stage, when you're in the ring. You're doing your thing. When you're not, you're yourself. I get that. I kind of get that impression. Oh, look at that! Billy J says he got laid after his first match as ref.
Hell yeah, Billy! Hell yeah, Billy!
Yeah, but here's the thing.
He's official.
Billy J is like, it's like I get the feeling he's a total big swanger. And I don't know, and I don't. It's.
You think Billy J's packing?
That's if you watch him in the ring, he's very delicate when he gets down there for the count.
Because he doesn't want to going down a whole new road.
It's just happened. I don't want to dwell on, and I don't want to get.
Could it be because of the thumbtacks?
Keep going.
That might be. Come to think of it.
I get down there a little delicate my damn self. That's all I'm saying.
Hell's yes.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So in Bill, I know when you and I did our little interview back in what was that? Probably May of last year, I think.
Yeah.
And we were just getting into the pandemic. I know being away from comedy was tough on you as well, right?
Well, yeah, and it's funny, I didn't tell you at the time, but my wife had just filed for divorce at the time we did that show.
Oh my God, yes.
So, yeah, I had a lot going on. So the whole pandemic's been very brutal. But in the end, it was all of it's a learning experience. You end up having to reinvent yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
And it gives me, I can just focus 100% on all selfish things. My only kid's 19. So yeah, I can pretty much do whatever the hell I want at this point.
Well, that's good.
So there's plenty of positives.
So let's move ahead.
But yeah, was there a question in there that I just want to. It's the whole thing. It's the whole parallel bit. No, I don't know if there's a question or not. It's just like I know when I talk with you and I talk with all of those other comedians, everybody, literally, we all just lost what we loved, just like Jaxon did. And although it wasn't nearly as bad for him, for us as it was for him, because he just got to start, and we've been doing it, and we've been plugging along, and we've had good times and lean times, and figured out that the main. I think the main parallel, it kind of just goes across entertainment. I don't think it's. I don't think that it's just comedy versus wrestling. I think it just goes across entertainment. Is we are all addicted to a worse drug than actual drugs. We're addicted to instant recognition.
Mm-hmm.
And you chase that first high just like drugs for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And at least when I started that first high I got doing comedy, I at least got to do it again in 2 weeks, and 2 weeks later, and so I couldn't imagine getting that first shot of heroin and then not being able to score again for another year.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm sure that's devastating. You know what I mean?
That's rough business.
I know that's a shitty comparison, but it is what it is. It's that instant recognition. Nobody drives 12 hours across the country for a hit of heroin, but they do it for $100 for stage time.
Yep.
I just feel like it's worse, and you sacrifice things and you lose things. And that's what I was trying to kind of caution him against.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to do this for real, if you really want to do it for real, this has to be the only thing that matters to you. Because it's going to affect every relationship. It's going to affect your ability to be a parent if you get to that point. It's going to affect all those things.
Yeah.
And it can be negative or positive. It's going to depend on how you spin it. But at the same time, you're never going to be able to be 100. I mean, I sacrificed a lot of summers and even winters here and there, you know, as he was growing up. You know, things were lean for me because I wanted to coach his basketball team and I wanted to coach his little league team.
Yep.
And so, like, you know, there were times that I turned down work because we had little league games.
Yeah.
And now I can safely say I don't regret it.
Oh yeah.
At all. Not even a little bit, you know, because at least he's not doing this because he has daddy issues.
Right. So
he's not backstage after the show cutting his inner thigh with a razor blade in the bathroom. So
if you're gonna, well, if that's right. That's right. If you're gonna cut yourself, you got to make it count, right? Red means green.
Do it in front of the crowd.
That's right. Don't be wasting that.
Always play the gimmick.
Yeah, do it the hard way. Make it real.
So, all right. So we move on to the 20th anniversary show. The first time you get to go back in front of an audience, and by this time now, so now you've got what's titled a grudge match against Lil Nate, who, if was this grudge match set up through the live stream matches?
No,
he's just the guy's just a dick.
He just started trolling you.
Basically, it's, you know, he used to be one of my best friends.
Oh, okay.
And he kind of just, yeah, he was also another one of those guys that, you know, helped me kind of like get to IPW. And basically that was, you know, he was one of my best friends for a few years. And then he kind of just started, like he said, he was kind of just started bashing me on social media and stuff like that. He didn't even, not just about me, but he talked about my school. He talked about like my, you know, and I was just like texting him, just like what the heck are you doing? Like, I was so confused, and, you know, I just kept escalating and escalating. And when we got back to, you know, when I found out we got back to, we were going back to live shows, they said to me, like, you know, hey, we're back May 8th. Is there anybody that you want to wrestle? I'm like, yep, I want Lil Nate. So yeah,
it was a great match.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was just really awesome to be back there, and, you know, especially for it being over a year. And, you know, I was really excited, and I was, you know, I told Troy Peterson how honored I was to especially be a part on a show that was a really big deal for all of them, because it was their, you know, 20 years that they've been doing this. So it was super cool to be a part of it.
Definitely. We always got to give shouts out to Troy Peterson, though, because he does a great job. Yeah. But so first of all, watching you that night, no one in there was probably like, man, like, he's still pretty new at this. Like, no one in there would say that, just so you know. And then you kind of had a busy night that night, because now, again, that 20th anniversary show, again, Troy and the guys at IPW did a great job, top to bottom. That whole card was great. The entire show was hot. I mean, even the gauntlet match at the end, from beginning to end, was great. But you had a couple moments, because, again, you had the match with Lil Nate, and it was great. But you had some good moments in that gauntlet match. But you also had an incident, which was fun, too, because, Bill, it was great watching you about to get involved in that whole ordeal. Because I know JR, you were like watching it, like, oh my god, look, he's gonna get in it.
Bill's gonna try to get some action.
And I'm sitting with Zach calling the match, and we're like, oh my god, what's going on? And like, I was like, and I could see you out of my corner of my eye. I'm like, oh, this is great. It'd be hilarious if he got involved. But that was like one of the high points I thought of as far as storytelling that was going on that night during that show, man. Like, that was great. Like, and as a commentary standpoint, me and Zach knew nothing. We knew nothing going into that entire show. Troy was just kind of like, because we're trying to test some stuff out because we're hoping to do all this for the Hall of Fame show, and maybe do more IPW shows, the whole video streaming and live commentary on all this stuff. So like Zach and I were not prepped. We had a few days notice. We really kind of came into that card cold. So like our reactions were super genuine. When you got drugged out of the gauntlet match and held out for the 10 count and then come back and give the turnaround to him later, which is now set up for your guys' match, Victor Payne, Mason Reaper against you and Bryce Jordan on, is it June 12th? Yep. Yes, June 12th. Yep. There's a different show on June 10th. That's just me, though. Yeah, the 12th down in Des Moines at the Forte Center. We'll be there again. We'll be doing commentary and all that good stuff again. So I'm excited to see this. What do you guys got planned for this match? I mean, obviously you and Mason have some business to settle.
Yeah, what's the deal with that Mason Reaper? Is he just a gigantic creep?
I mean, yeah, I was, I'm really excited for June 12th. I'm excited to, kind of get a little bit of revenge on Mason, and I'm really excited to team with Bryce Jordan. He's unbelievably talented, and it'll be cool because he's also one of those top IPW stars. He's our current vault champion, and I went to IPW shows as a fan before I started training, and he's been doing it longer than I have, and if I'm completely honest, I have never seen a bad Bryce Jordan match like that. He is so incredibly athletic, and that dude can do some really good stuff.
So speaking of Bryce Jordan, and I have to bring this up until we get him on here and we get to talk with him. I told Ace, and
love this.
It's because it's the goddamn truth.
I know.
So the minute he goes in the ring, all right. The minute he goes in the ring, I turn to Ace and I say, "This guy looks just," and I can't even think of the guy's name. He looks just like Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman. He looks just like Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman,
doesn't he? Bill, he does. He looks like Gary Oldman. And I tell this
in
to
True Romance.
Yeah, well, in whatever. I mean, yeah, he looks like in the Professional. He looks like it. I mean, his face looks like it. And so I tell Golden Boy this, and he's like, "Oh, thank you." And I'm like, "You don't know who Gary Oldman is, do you?" He does. Nope, not at all.
No idea.
And I'm like, "Kid," and I'm like, again, not everybody's a kid to me, But I think that's going to be a fantastic match, and the two of you guys, Jaxon, teaming together is going to be really fantastic.
I'm really looking forward to teaming up with him.
It was funny. Now I feel like we're like Little League parents all over again, because like me and my little crew, we were sitting right next to all the people that had Bryce Jordan t-shirts on.
Nice.
We were all like high-fiving and stuff all night. Afterwards, a couple of my buddies were like apologizing. They're like, "No, you guys were a riot. It was great."
It's awesome.
All my friends were like betting on the matches.
So let me ask you. Nice. So let me ask you this, Jaxon. So you've got shirts, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you design your own shirt, or do you hire it out to somebody, or does IPW help you?
Basically how that happened was, I've been really needing to get just some sort of merchandise to try to sell at shows, and a good buddy of mine, he kind of surprised me with them and surprised me with the design, and kind of put them on a t-shirt website, and kind of just surprised me out of the blue with a link on Facebook to go get like your Jaxon King merch. So I was really excited, and yeah, so I people were getting off the website, and I wanted to so I ordered a really big amount of them to try to sell at shows too, and people have a fair share of people have bought merchandise, and yeah, that's basically how that happened. It just kind of came out of nowhere. My buddy just surprised me with them, and made a website for him, so it was really cool.
It's fantastic. I
got a few pointers for him on
merch pointers. That's the whole thing. I was going to ask, You know, have you what kind of pointers have you? First of all, Jaxon, I think from the last show, from the 20th anniversary show, I think you should look into getting some phone crowns made that say Jaxon King on there, because obviously there's a market for that if they're going to go over to Burger King and get hats. But so Bill, so what kind of as Jaxon has progressed, what kind of tips have you given him? Have you given him tips on showmanship or how to write lines or for promos or anything like that, or have you kind of let him go on his own?
I have been as hands off as possible. Every once in a while, I mean, I do dad stuff like he'll do some other promotions like what's the other one, Magnum Pro?
Yeah, I've wrestled at
he'll do like Omaha shows, and I paid for their Patreon or whatever so I can watch them, and I'll say shit like, dude, do you not feel your tights falling? Like, pull those motherfuckers up, man. Like, wrestlers pull their tights up all the time, bro. Like, no, my main thing is if he really genuinely wants my help, I'm here and I will give it to him. But I've tried hard to make sure that it's his thing, and he needs to find his way and his way of doing things, develop his tools. The only things I've ever said is, like I said, when he asks me for advice, I give it. I try to tell him to make sure that he's humble, and especially around the veterans and those kind of guys.
Yep.
Like I was concerned when after that first night, they said he was going to have a title match at their next show. And I was like, dude, you need to make sure that everybody's cool with that. Like, you don't just walk in the door, and nobody seemed to care. Obviously, I think that was everybody's. It's like I don't want to use this comparison as if he's him, but it's like, Tiger Woods took the purse up in golf. So it's hard for a guy in 10th place to hate that guy, even though he kind of came out young or whatever.
Yeah.
He's obviously not any type of Tiger Woods of wrestling or anything like that. It's just, I think a lot of those guys are smart enough to be like, well, if he's wrestling for the title, there's going to be a lot more people here, and it's going to be a lot more fun and that kind of thing. So.
And that's the thing, right? It's like, because you mentioned this to me on that Saturday night down there, is that the one thing that you're recognizing versus your own comedy career is you talked about being able to draw people into the seats, which is what you're talking. I mean, it's so very important for that, and it would make life for a comedian much easier.
It was something that I never, any comic that's. I never wanted my goals to be rich and famous. I just wanted to eat and be there for my kid, because I felt like if I got rich and famous, I would be an absent father.
Mm-hmm.
So that was never my goal.
Right.
But if that's what you're trying to do, I mean, and I don't mean to take it to that level, but like, it's about developing your own audience, developing a fan base. And now with technology more than ever, we have the ability to do that from wherever we are in different ways. But when I started doing comedy, I had to have an atlas.
Yeah.
So it's just different. Things evolve.
Right.
But he's in a place right now. I mean, when I first started doing open mics, I was the biggest draw. Yeah. I was 21 years old, and all my friends were partying. My family couldn't wait to come, And that's kind of what I've told him over and over again, is that's going to go. You need to be able to bring the same energy to the show in Story City, where nobody that is there to see you.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of performance you need to be concentrating on. Let the crowd take care of itself, and have a great time when it's your hometown show. But if you really want to do this, it's not about these shows.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go back up.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say real quick. I'm just going to, and then you can go. I'm going to go back up to the chat quick.
I was going to touch on that anyways.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It was going to lead into an original question I wanted to ask you anyways, Jaxon. So We have a unique perspective. Who, again, I don't know your guys' names in Twitch world, guys. So if I do know you, sorry, I'm not acknowledging you because I don't know your names on Twitch, except referee Billy J, because he actually is referee Billy J on Twitch. So, but he is
By the way, the only ref I've ever seen cheer.
Oh my god,
in my life.
Billy is as over as
that was hilarious.
He's the man. That's why.
In his referee striped face mask. Get out of here.
Yeah. Him and Unique are having a little argument in our chat room about how much you either love or hate John Cena, Jackson. So I want to hear that, but that also leads me to my question on, because you said you saw John Cena as a kid, which, for me, I was that guy that at WrestleMania 28 in Miami, I was laughing in the little kid's face behind me when The Rock pinned John Cena and won. Sorry. But yeah, so who were the guys that you were watching that you're like, you want to kind of be in those shoes? You want those are the guys you're looking up to in the industry.
Basically, a lot of people know this. They're not even like just my wrestling inspirations, but they're like my role models, like hero type, and like just life in general. And that's John Cena and Randy Orton.
Well, fuck me. Fuck your dad. Never mind, I failed.
Hey, man.
My kid idolizes people that he'll probably never meet over his father.
You need to never mind. 80,000 stadium, and then we'll talk.
Troy Peterson, I'd like to suggest a generational match.
It'll be a cold day in hell, John Russell.
To go back to your answer, though, Jackson, that's interesting, though, because those two guys seem kind of almost polar opposite in what they do in and out of the ring. So that's interesting that you're kind of pulling two different type of deals. So you said Cena and Orton, right?
Yep.
So when did the Orton stuff happen? Because obviously he was majority heel like that whole time you were probably watching. So where did you go from like being the John Cena guy to then like you're like, wait a minute, I kind of like this asshole Orton?
I don't know. When there was just something about Randy Orton when he was wrestling, I was just like, this guy's a badass, and he's just also he's so good. Like, that's just the thing. You can't name a bad Randy Orton match. Like, and like, he's also one of those guys that like, whether he is a face or a heel, that and like in his entrance, he just walks out and does not say a word, and the crowd goes nuts. It's just like, that just means like he's just like, it's Randy Orton, and like obviously everyone loves the RKO out of nowhere stuff, but like, that was just the thing. Like, Cena was just, one of my favorite wrestler of all time, and same with Orton. Those are just kind of my top two favorites, and like they're just kind of just like my role models. And
it's charisma. It's in your DNA to be addicted to the charisma, no matter what form it comes in. That you're just a kid and you don't know it yet, but that's what it is. It's the charisma.
But yeah, so that was the thing. Like, when I was just watching it, and I started watching. When I started watching it, they were getting ready for WrestleMania 25.
Oh, okay.
So that was when Cena was beefing with Edge and Big Show, and it was when Randy Orton had Ted DiBiase Jr. and Cody Rhodes feuding with the McMahon family. Yes. And I just remember, watching it, and I'm just like, okay, Randy Orton's a badass. I love this guy, and like, so yeah, those are just the two that I've always watched. Like my dad said, I have a tattoo right here. It's and actually, like,
show it to him.
Screw it.
Yeah, screw it.
Were you
just don't show
off your body?
Just don't show any nipples, because they'll throw us off of
Japanese TV.
Well, they'll throw us off of Twitter. For some reason, they don't like nipples. Yeah. Oh yeah, very nice. Stand up a little bit there.
Okay, so the Viper is, Viper symbolizes Orton, and the brass knuckles are Cena, because Cena used to have like the word life.
Oh, nice.
So that was my first tattoo. It just kind of wanted to show off like who like inspired me to wrestle,
That's
awesome.
He's got Bill Blank on his right butt cheek.
Oh my god. No, I don't.
Oh my god. Oh man. No, that's, I mean, the cool thing is both of those guys are guys that are mainstays in that business and made that name for themselves. So those are two guys to look up to if you're going to get into this and do it.
And
you know what I mean?
Yeah. And like Cena, like out of the whole world, Cena is like one of the greatest. He seems like one of the greatest human beings like you can ever. Like that dude has done so much outside of the ring for like just the community. Like, like he's just an amazing individual.
I'll tell you what, at that same Christmas Raw we went to, and I think I've told this story, JR, before, but I'll share it again just so for you, Jaxon. When we were at the Christmas Raw, they went to commercial break. Again, we're right by the ring because we're to the side of commentary, and Cena was in there. They went to break. When they come back, he's going to have his match. So he's just hanging out in the ring. He did something to the crowd, and I was being that asshole heckling him and be like, yeah, we all see you, asshole, right? Like, whatever. And like he talked back, like he like threw shit back at me, and I was like, what? And he said something about like, I could hear you, right? And I'm like, I hope so. I'm yelling and you're like 20 feet away, bro. And then he said something else. We both literally chuckled at each other like, all right, good exchange. And then they went back from commercial, and I was like, you know what, I give this guy a lot of shit, but damn, he's cool. He also called me out at a Raw too. Me and my buddy went to Raw, and it was the weekend of the Dallas Cowboys Minnesota Vikings playoff game years ago, and I'm a Cowboys guy, so me and my one buddy had our Cowboys jerseys on, and he somehow saw us, and when they went off air, he cut a promo in the ring and literally was talking about Minnesota nice, and then that they're so nice they let 2 Cowboys fans in and pointed us out in the crowd. And everyone booed us. Just it was, and then like 3 days later, the Cowboys got smoked by the Vikings. It was a very sad week.
I am also a Cowboy fan.
Hell yeah,
Bill. I had this almost something pretty similar to what you just said happened to me at a Monday Night Raw, but it was with Randy Orton.
Okay.
So me and my buddies in school, we got ringside for Monday Night Raw in Des Moines, and I decided to go. I've never sat ringside before. Like I sat like behind the commentators when I went with my dad, but like never like there where you're on TV the whole show.
Okay. Oh, so, you were camera side.
Yeah. So yeah, very expensive.
Oh yeah.
But. So I decided to just, I've never done this before. I want the full experience. So I decided to go all out. I went and got my haircut. I had the WWE logo on one side, and then I got RKO on the other. And they did 2 tapings that night because it was a Christmas thing. They did the live episode, and then they recorded the Christmas Raw because Christmas was on a Monday, so they let the wrestlers go be with their families, I'm guessing.
I remember this. I remember that you guys had that double taping.
Yeah. So
did any of them kill their families when they were there?
Oh my God.
Sorry.
So we got to see you took them thing from me.
Ooh, daddy.
This is the type of dad jokes he gets.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, man.
So basically, we got to see most of the wrestlers that were there kind of wrestle twice because they had to do two different shows. So we saw Randy Orton. So I saw Randy Orton twice, and at the first show, he was the main event. He wrestled AJ Styles, which was an absolute banger.
Yeah.
And so that show gets over. So it's like as you're getting ready for the next show, Randy Orton starts Actually, no, I'll fast forward back earlier in the show. So he came out, did his entrance, and during his entrance, it went to commercial. So AJ Styles wasn't out there yet. He was just walking around the ring. We kept trying to yell at him to get his attention so he would see the haircut. And eventually he looked over at us and he kind of just like gave us a typical Randy Orton snarl look. And so the match gets over. He walks past us, and I actually have a video of it because my buddy was filming it to see what would happen. He walks right past us to go back, and I yelled at him to see if he liked it. He turned to me and just goes, "Looks like shit."
Yeah.
And then so then on the next show, the second taping, he was in a 6-man tag. It was him and the Viking Raiders against AJ, Carl Anderson,
and he's babyface during this. What a jerk.
And so during that match, he's standing on the apron.
Yeah.
You know how he wears that vest? That he takes off his vest, he turns to me and teases me with it like a dog. Just like, like I think he's gonna throw it at me. So he throws it over to me and he purposely keeps it on his side of the barricade so that I couldn't catch it. And then he turned to me again and like gave me a frowny face. And I'm just, everyone's like making fun of me, like, "Oh yeah, you just got roasted by Randy Orton." I'm like, "Yeah, this is the coolest thing ever." Like Randy Orton like talked to me. And so then later on in the show, since we were sitting in front, every time someone got thrown out of the ring, we would stand up and like we looked down. His vest is right below me on the barricade. If I really wanted to, I could have just reached over and grabbed it and took off running, but I didn't want to be that kind of an idiot. So it gets over. The match is over. Commercial. The camera guy comes up to me, like looks at me, picks it up and says like, "Here, Randy Orton wanted you to have that." So he gave me Randy Orton's vest, so I got that thing shadow boxed in my room.
Oh, awesome!
Cool shit.
That is so freaking cool.
Yeah, Cena gave me an arena full of booze, so screw it.
But yeah, my goal is to eventually, hopefully, meet Randy Orton sometime and get that vest signed. Like I know I'm a wrestler, but I'm a mark, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I collect so much stuff. Like I'm a fan.
I mean, most everybody in the business is a mark at one point. So, and still are. That's cool, man. Though, because those are the stories that then make you like buy into this even more and be like, okay, I'm really into this. I'm really gonna put all my time and energy into this kind of thing because those are those moments, man.
But those are also the moments because there are other people now that are at top level who have those type of stories about people that they interacted with as they were starting. So this is very, very cool, and it's hopefully that'll just drive you to the point where you can, maybe, have him snarl at you one more time, while you're both in the same ring. That'd be cool. Do you have?
That would be the.
So would those two guys obviously be your
room?
Well, yeah, weight room too. Would those two guys though obviously be your dream matches?
The goddamn weight room. That's what I've been telling him.
Randy Orton doesn't go to the weight room anymore.
I'm being a dad now. I'm being a dad again. Like
every time he does
another one of those parallels we were talking about. Like I don't want him to be the lifelong open micer. Where you make a cool poster and you tell all your friends you're a comic.
Right.
Let's not be the guy that's just telling everybody you're a wrestler. Let's be one. Get in the gym.
There you go.
Hey, man. Sean Waltman did it. I don't know if that's a great example, but Sean Waltman did it.
And Sean Waltman did a lot of stuff.
Well, if you're not going to go in the gym, you better be King Kong Bundy. That's all I'm saying.
There you go. Oh, man. So you mentioned...
I'm sorry, I interrupted your question.
No, you're cool, man. See, that's what we kind of like is like more just a conversation type than just straight questions. Yeah. Jaxon, so you said you've done Omaha. You've been doing any other promotions?
So far I've done IPW, Magnum Pro, and I just did my first or second Rugged Pro show.
Okay, and Rugged's out of Iowa as well, right?
Yeah, Marshalltown, I believe.
Yeah, is that Austin?
Austin. Yeah, Austin Fouts.
Yeah. So crazy thing about Austin is I remember being there for like one of his first matches in IPW, and like JR, the old podcast, we like were his first interview, I think, back in the day.
Oh wow!
And now he's got his own thing going out there. Yeah, he's doing a good job out there. I always liked Austin. Yeah, man, that's cool. Let me ask you this though, because we've talked a lot about Bill, you watching Jaxon doing his thing and being a proud dad and all that, but Jaxon, what are the feelings you get when you're watching the old man on stage?
One of the first times I watched him go on stage, I wanted to kind of act like I hated it. So I was sitting in the back and the show got over. He came up to me and I just said like, what the hell was that? And he was just like, wait, what? And I'm like, dude, I'm just kidding. But like, no, I think the first time I like got to go see him do comedy in a comedy club was, I think it was when he took me to Kansas City.
Oh, you went to that theater show.
Oh, yeah.
When you were like 12.
Yeah. The first time I got to see him do comedy, I was 12.
Wow.
Yeah. But like, I think I would probably still consider Kansas City my first real comedy experience. It was at a legit club and a lot more people.
Here's one. I'll let you finish, but like one part of this that you should know is most of my funny bone and improv work over the years has come. I usually do urban shows. I'm usually opening for a famous black comic, and I'm like the only white guy in the room.
Love it. And
that was the case when I took him to Kansas City. So you were about 14, I think, then?
Yeah. Something around there.
But go ahead. I'm sorry. I just felt like that setup needed to be.
Yeah, because that is an experience. That's a different experience. Then
he didn't grow up like me. He went to more of a suburban type school and stuff. Yeah. So I wanted him to get some culture, and it was kind of my reasoning for taking him.
Well, we originally went because I wanted to go to an MLB game.
Yeah, and we went to the Royals game. Yeah.
And that wasn't even the funnest thing that we did. Like, the Royals game ended up being over 100 degrees, and it was a boring game. But, like, we got to experience some other cool stuff. Like, throughout that whole trip, we went to the Negro League Baseball Hall of Fame, which is hands down the best.
It's a museum.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame museum. And it was hands down the coolest museums I ever went to. And we also went to the college basketball experience thing, which was a lot of fun.
Nice.
But yeah, I went to how many shows did I go to? Like 4? 6, yeah. So I went to 6 shows with the same people, but it was so fun because it was just fun, and I got free drinks and free food. So
there you go. Hell yeah, right?
Nice.
But yeah.
Who were you? Were you headlining those shows, Bill? Were you?
No, I was opening for Capone. I'm sure I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but
yeah, I have.
Yeah, I was opening for Capone that week, and so I just remember I remember taking him. We were going back to the hotel after the first night, and he goes, "Dad," he's like, "I'm not trying to like say anything, but how come the whole crowd was black?" And and it was great because I was just like, good, this is exactly what I was hoping for. Like, now we get to have these conversations. Like, you need some culture in your life, bro. Like, I'm going to teach you some things that you're not the only thing in the world. Like,
exactly.
Right.
So it worked out great.
So Jaxon,
Capone was cool as hell to him, man.
Yeah,
oh, nice.
Capone and Clint Coley, those two, they were really nice. They're hilarious.
So let me
Clint.
Oh, go ahead.
Clint Coley was one of my favorites because he told a joke about doing the Shawn Michaels DX suck it to his teacher. That was my favorite joke of the whole night.
Nice.
I do remember that. And they've been, and both of those guys actually ever since have like sent him video messages and stuff. And
oh, that's awesome.
So they've been cool to him.
So let me ask you this, Jaxon, when you're watching your dad, does he have any references that you don't quite get because of your age or anything else?
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's been plenty. Like, I've been to shows where he would, not even just him, but any comedian, like, they would tell a joke, the crowd would start dying of laughter. I'm just sitting there like, the hell does that mean? But there's also been some where I would be like in tears laughing.
Yeah.
Like, even the jokes that he tells about me, like, I'll laugh my butt off at him. Like,
how does that come about? Like, how does it come about where you find out you're part of, the set, the act?
I just like he never really like told me ahead of time, hey, I'm going to tell this joke about you, so be ready. I would just go to the show.
I just asked your permission about the porn one.
Yeah, that's the only one. Don't go into that. You knocked the thing out again.
We're not going to hear that here.
He's got an image. He's got an image.
So there was That was the only one he ever asked me for permission, but I was just like, yeah, tell it. And when I went to the next time I went to his show, and I remember him asking me about the joke, I actually told him before the show, hey, tell that joke. I want to hear it. And he told it, and I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, like, I think my favorite one's when he would make fun of my mom, because we can make fun of my mom and I can't get in trouble for it. So when he would make fun of my mom, I would start laughing pretty hard too.
We got a bunch of people popping on that. Sorry.
Yep, we got a bunch of people.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining.
But by the way, ex-wife jokes, they hit hard.
Hell yeah, of course they do.
Well, yeah. So, just out of curiosity, and if you don't want to tell me, you don't need to. Again, Jaxon, but I'm interested. So I know your pops went to North High, and you said that you went to a more suburban school. What school did you go to?
I went when I was in elementary school. I was actually in the Des Moines Public District. I went to Oak Park Elementary.
Oh, okay.
And then after that, when I got into middle school, from middle school and high school, I was in the Sadell Community District.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Very nice. I just worry because your dad probably, I don't know if he told you or not, but I grew up in Des Moines. Oh, 1,000 years ago, so I know where a lot of stuff is. But
you went to like Dowling or Valley,
yeah,
right?
I went to Dowling, yeah.
Dowling,
yeah, because mom and dad were, and
went to the country club and they were Catholic.
We lived right across the street from the Urbandale Country Club. For God's sake. Yeah, so, but so the good news part of that was, yes, that was all true. But I also had a brother and 4 sisters. So, and I continually think to myself, Jesus God, I have hard enough time keeping track of myself. How'd my old man take care of 7 other fucking people?
Right.
It's like, I can't even do me. But anyway.
Different back then, though, man. They did it.
Well, it's that Catholic birth control problem.
That's right. It's like, yeah.
Man, pull out at least twice.
It's like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. What? We've had sex twice and we have 2 children. It's exactly the same thing. I don't know. But anyway.
Or Life of Brian.
Yeah, exactly. That's a whole different thing. I've got myself in a I'm frustrated again mentally. Ace. So take over a minute, because this happens to me sometimes as I'm getting older.
I'm gonna go get a drink real quick.
I think you should do that.
Go for it. It happens a lot.
Lord.
It happens a lot. Anyways, Jaxon, let's so you said Cena and Orton are like your guys, but who are you watching right now? Like, who's out there that you'd like? Because there's a lot of good talent out there, and let's be honest, in the next few years, it's not unrealistic that you can have shots of working with some of these people. So, like, who are some of these people you're seeing doing big things right now that you're like, man, I hope I get that chance?
Probably my favorite wrestler, other than Randy Orton, that I've been watching a lot, is Jon Moxley. Big fan of him. I like that dude. Is just actually, when he was in WWE, I met him when I was in 8th grade, I think. He was nice. At a Comic-Con. He was at Comic-Con in Des Moines, and I got to meet him. But yeah, Jon Moxley is someone that I've been really enjoying. Like that ever since that he kind of got back into the indies. He has been just like, he was just basically just lighting the world on fire with his matches. All those classics that he started having with like Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho and a lot of those stars from New Japan.
Yeah, that's what's cool about Moxley, man, is he made a real good name for himself leaving when he left WWE, and then obviously that I love the back door of the whole no non-compete, because the door is always open for you, Mr. Ambrose, and then just no, it's not. But man, yeah, he's really. I mean, AEW wouldn't probably be where they're at if he wasn't a big part of that.
I am also a big fan of AEW. I love, they have so many talented wrestlers. Like, I love seeing Cody Rhodes on there. My dad will probably tell you this when he comes back, because like you said earlier, he loves all the guys that talk the most smack. My dad is a big fan of Chris Jericho.
Of course.
Yeah.
One of the best ever.
Yeah. absolutely, but
second best. Second, but Piper's the absolute best. Jericho's second best.
I was just telling them about.
But if you want to go talkers though, right now,
I was telling them
talkers that are alive. Yeah,
I was telling them that you were a big fan of Chris Jericho.
Oh God, love Chris Jericho.
He's the best, man.
What do you feel? I mean, what do you feel about Eddie Kingston? How do you like Eddie Kingston, Bill?
I like.
I don't even know who that is.
You don't know who Eddie Kingston is.
What do you think, Jaxon?
I'm not on the modern train.
I am a fan of his. I liked a lot of his stuff that he's, his matches with Jon Moxley on AEW and his other matches on AEW, and what he's been doing with Jon Moxley is really cool too. I love that Jon Moxley changed his theme song to Wild Thing. The crowd went, and he had,
It's crazy to see Tony Khan doing that, getting actual licensed music for his wrestlers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, AEW has done a lot of really good things. I think one of the coolest things that I've seen in wrestling was, for a long time was the tribute that they did for Brody Lee.
That was awesome.
That was really cool. I was actually on my way back from Omaha wrestling, and I fell asleep on the way back, and when I woke up, they told me that Brody Lee passed away, and it was just what?
Yeah.
He was so and he was, he was young and he was really good, and it was just someone that you did not expect to see just go like that,
Yeah, that was a real just crazy situation, and that one really impacted. Wrestling unfortunately is a world that loses a lot of people over the years. And that one really hurt for some reason when it happened this time around. But it's also cool because it gives you the chance to see what these people are like when they're just not out in front of the crowd in the ring, because you got to see the man that guy was. You talk about talkers though, just because I don't want to talk about sad stuff the whole time. I would love Bill to watch MJF's promos and then get see what he thinks.
Look him up, please.
I would love that. He says, Bill, you like the talk, and you said it too. You like the guys who talk shit.
Yeah, the best shit talkers, man. Like I said, Scott Hall. I don't know what it was about Scott Hall. I just always adored that dude. I thought he was the greatest.
Great. I'll tell you,
what do you think about Piper? Piper was the
Roddy Piper's fantastic. The thing is, the 80s guys were when I was a kid. That was the eat your vitamins days. And so Piper being a heel during that time, I didn't like him. He wasn't the real American or anything.
Right.
But as I got to adolescent age, I started liking heels better. I thought they were more fun. And then the whole Attitude Era coupled with, I was 21 years old, ready to get in bar fights. I mean,
right.
That era fell right in line with who I was at the time. It was great. And then as I got older, you kind of start not having time for stuff like that. Like Monday Night Raw isn't appointment watching anymore. And you just kind of lose touch with it. And then, the kids come along and you hang out with them and watch it and take them and stuff like that. But you still never really, you're not watching it every night. It's not the thing,
right.
So as far as the modern guys go, I can't really tell you. I haven't paid much attention, but I just look at those guys. I remember, like I said earlier, Macho Man. I'm trying to think.
I'll tell you what, one of my favorite lines ever was that whole Mega Powers split with Macho Man where they're in back fighting over Elizabeth when she's on the stretcher and he just yells at Hogan, "You got lust in those eyes, Hogan." I don't know why, but every time I hear that line and see that, I crack up every time. It's just so funny.
You ever heard
dude,
Macho
the rap album?
The rap album.
Oh yeah.
Be a man, Hogan. I remember this friend of mine sent that to me, and he goes, He's got legit bars, dude. Like, seriously. And I was like, oh, God. No, he doesn't.
Right.
No, he doesn't.
When I was working in radio, they sent out promos, and we all listened to it, and we all laughed and said, "This is never going to hit the air."
Remember that album they did back in the day where like Coco Beware did a song?
Oh yeah,
dude.
Coco wasn't Coco Be Pile Driver?
Yeah, he did. He did that one because I remember the video. They were all on a construction site.
Yep.
Yes.
All the wrestlers were construction workers for some reason. Like, what the shit?
And Vince McMahon did a song. I remember him coming out like dancing like he's Elvis. He looked like
back.
Have you ever seen that video? Have you ever seen the video of Dolph Lundgren where Dolph Lundgren's like, I can't remember what country he's from. I always want to say Germany, but I don't think it's Germany, but whatever.
Probably close.
So Dolph Lundgren is like the man. Like he's not Ivan Drago like he is to us. This dude is a Broadway showman in his home country. Have you seen the video of him doing a little less conversation?
No.
I'm
gonna watch it later though.
I have to look it up now.
Look it up. Do yourself a goddamn favor and thank me. It is insanely awesome.
Now here is
that's what it. The first time since I saw Vince McMahon do his song, did I see something that reminded me of it when I saw Dolph Lundgren.
Here is one of the all-time greatest and highly collectible things you'll ever get. Jesse the Body Ventura did an album completely his own, and it's a picture disc.
Are you shitting me?
I am not. And if you can find that picture disc, it is, I can't remember what it, but it's a pretty hefty price. If you can find it. But that's
what
I saw him jam with Santana.
Did you really?
Well, I remember
he
when
came in and jammed with Santana at a Santana show like the year he won the Governor.
Oh man.
Like
he was on like percussions. He was like out there just hitting the bongos and shit.
Yeah, I'm just going to hit this drum.
He's playing the bongos.
I'm going to hit the drum once or twice because I'm the governor now. So if you don't like it, you can stick it in your ear, Mr. McMahon.
I remember he had. That's a good impression.
Say gorilla.
Bro.
I love it when you say
gorilla monsoon. Listen here, monsoon.
I love it.
I'm about to come out of retirement. I remember when he got inaugurated as the governor of Minnesota, he had Johnny Lang play.
Yeah.
And I love Johnny Lang. So I was pumped about that.
Dude,
the thing is, before he just became like he was batshit fucking crazy, I really liked him.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He was a good governor.
So check this out. You love Johnny Lang? I was up in Fargo when the kid was in like junior high before he moved down to Austin and couldn't play the goddamn guitar. He could sing like he was 75 years old, but he couldn't play the guitar at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was, there was they had the Fargo Blues Fest up there, and
that's when he was Kid Johnny Lang in the Big Bang.
But it was before that.
Like 14.
It was before that even. Because what happened was they'd had this blues fest, and he was in town, but he wasn't on the bill because he was just a local guy. But all the guys that were on the bill came over to this coffee house, and they started jamming. And Tom Bones Malone and a couple other guys, the one that I can remember because I'm like, that motherfucker was on the Blues Brothers. But him and a bunch of other guys were there, and Johnny Lang came up and sang with them all, and it was like, oh, you just knew that this kid is going somewhere.
Oh, I've seen him a few different times, and he never reached any type of arena status, which a blues guy probably isn't going to.
Yeah.
But every time I've seen him, I was amazed. Just, it's like when he sings, it's like he's Joe Cocker.
Yeah.
But then he can play at the same time.
Right.
It's just amazing to watch.
All right, Jaxon, speaking of music, So with IPW, do they help you choose intro music, or do you come up with your own idea that really gets you pumped up?
Basically it was just like, send in what you want to come out to. You just basically, it's family friendly, so it just has to be like appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just, we kind of get to have that freedom where we kind of pick our own song.
So you have to forgive me when you guys, when you guys were walking out and stuff. We and Zach were doing our thing. So, what was the song you walked out to?
I chose to come out to "Loving Every Minute of It" by Loverboy, just because I thought it was kind of a hype up rock song. Because like you're about to wrestle, you got to get hyped, and like the lyric in that song, "Loving every minute of it," like I'm loving every minute of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I just thought it fit.
Hell yeah.
Well, if you ever want somebody to personalize a song for you, I'm going to give you this example.
You made it almost 2 hours and you haven't played it yet.
Well, because it's just I'm trying to be respectful and I'm trying to slip it in when I can. But here's a jingle that I know somebody can, and you can listen to this and you might like it and you might say, hey, I would use that if it was more personalized, and we can arrange this.
Have you heard of John Russell, the oldest guy on Twitch? He's a little grumpy and he begs for subs and bits. He's live from someone's basement where he goes on pissy rants. He could die while on the air, sitting in his underpants. Follow and sub to Russellmania. John Russell loves you.
See, and we can just fix
it's
that
about
up for
30 seconds too long. My only problem with it.
Yeah, Billy J's not with it either. He said that's gonna get you booed out of the building. JR.
If you just cut about 30 seconds out of there, it's gold.
But if the woman singing is English. She's from England.
Uh-huh.
But like, is she really? You don't know for sure.
So does that mean it has to be 30 seconds too long? Is there something about English music? Because last I heard, the Beatles shortened everything.
Fine.
JJ said he doesn't see the ultimate.
How did that? Did you pay like $5 on a website for that? How'd that happen?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But I did research
into the intro music.
It's perfect for me because see, I said now you get me on the whole thing because it's merch.
Jackson's like, I'm not paying this.
Did I just break the fourth wall?
No, you didn't because see, then it goes with this is what I sell after shows now. John Russell Loves You you can't see it because you're not looking at it, but it's a big ass magnet. It's a big ass magnet.
Why can't I see you, by the way? What's the problem?
So what happens is...
Why can't we have a 3-plex?
What's up with no 3-way, bro?
So what happens is this. When we're doing this and we're doing it on Twitch only, so like with this because you use StreamYard, right? With StreamYard, you can stream to Twitch as well. But the problem is that with Twitch, then you can't see any of the chat that's going on while you're doing StreamYard. You can see it on Facebook, you can see it on YouTube, but you can't see it on Twitch.
You need to stay off so you can read the chats.
Well, no, so basically, since we're not doing StreamYard, I'm using something called OBS, which is what is it? Something broadcasting software. I don't know what the hell it is. But the thing is, my camera. My computer, the programs will only allow me to use one program. It's the same as if you were using StreamYard and you decided you want to use a camera for something else. It says your camera's being used by another program. I can't recognize you. So how
many people have dropped off since we started this conversation?
0.
Oh, well, that's good.
0. We've had pretty.
God damn it, that was boring.
Well, the jingle wasn't.
We've got to do better, John.
The jingle was
do better.
The jingle was an ass kicker.
It's funny because I have to watch it on Twitch.
Here's the thing.
Here's the problem.
Here's the thing. I can already tell you that you're trying to make this into something that it's not. That's
we're gonna have a Bill and JR match at the next.
No, we're not gonna. No, we're not gonna. Nobody wants to watch two old men. Well, one old man and a middle-aged guy. Nobody wants to watch a middle-aged guy beat the shit out of a
JR,
old guy.
You have to take the running spear into the headshot with the chair from Bill.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I'll be lucky. Seriously, I would be lucky if I get in the ring. You can do whatever the hell you want. All right. Look, we're not.
Hey, look, we're not going to turn into rivals here.
No, we're not, because we're friends. We're friends for God's sake.
Okay, I got a question for you, John.
Yes.
Now we're boring my kid. Look at him.
I know he's looking. He's watching. He's
still 19 at the end of the day.
He's slamming on Tinder. It's like I don't give a shit. Go ahead, kid. Have fun.
Tomorrow he's gonna be like, I listen to these two old guys yell at each other.
So you're talking about how everybody's like a kid, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's a kid to you, right?
Yeah.
So we just worked together the one time, right? In St. Cloud.
Yep, that's right.
So you show up in St. Cloud and you see me. Are you like, I'm opening for this kid? Is that what you were thinking?
No. So here's the thing. If I remember correctly,
fair question.
It is a fair question. No, but
it's always weird because I haven't had it happen with me a lot because I'm 42.
Yeah.
So most of the time, if I'm headlining the show, the opener's younger than me. But the majority of my work, I'm still the opener.
Right.
And I am opening a lot for people that are younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the first time I ever had someone open for me. I shouldn't say that in general, because there have been people that were older than me that opened for me, but they weren't like real shows.
Yeah.
Like this was a real show, you know?
Yeah.
So that's like one of the few times. So I'm wondering to myself, is he thinking what I'm thinking when I open for someone younger than me? You know what I mean?
No, I don't. So this is interesting that you bring this up. I, like you, enjoy doing this. And generally speaking, I'm like, I don't give a shit. I mean, right. It's in fact, one of the guys that's very young that we had go up to Alaska with Johnny Bush and me. He said, "Man, I can't believe you don't give a shit about anything." And I'm like, it's kind of true. I mean, there are things I do give a shit about, but it's like, generally speaking, the older I get, the more I kind of don't care, you know? And it's like,
well, I think it changes too with, I think comedy, I think entertainment in general, it comes with your age is really more about how long you've been doing it.
Yeah.
More so than your actual age.
Like, oh yeah, definitely.
I've been doing this for 22 years.
Yeah.
So a guy that started doing this when he was in his late 30s or something, he's way behind me.
Oh yeah, right. Definitely.
Even though he's older than I am, you know what I mean? Because I started when I was 21.
Yeah.
So like, there's comedy years and then there's years.
Yeah, I try to tell people it's like, and I have to assume that wake up Jaxon so he can hear this.
I hope Jaxon chops the shit out of you when he sees you next year.
Yeah, he's not gonna. He's gonna be respectful of an old man who at some point.
I'm about to be the LeVar Ball.
He'll do it backstage though, and the fans can't see it.
No, what I was going to say is I tell people, because if people ask me, oh yeah, well, how long you been doing comedy? It's like a flight hours for a pilot, and I have to assume it's very similar with wrestling. You know, I'm sure that there are guys, Jaxon, that have gone through the training and had a match or two, and then sort of drop off, and then come back and drop off, and kind of because it's just the same as there are with comedians. But it's like flight hours. It really is. You know, I know people say, I've been doing comedy for 14 years, and they've been on stage 14 times.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so it's yep. I totally get it. I totally get it.
So what do you the thing I remember most about that night was the setup of that room basically had it so that we were just standing in the back the whole time.
Yeah.
And I remember some people up front that were really drunk that I had to spend a lot of time keeping from ruining the show.
Yeah.
It ended up going well, but they were just very unruly.
Hey, thank you, Fuzzy. Appreciate the subscription. We have a little thing that we have a little noise that pops up when
JR. I don't
JJ.
JR, I don't know if you've been paying attention to this chat that's going on, but like this literally, and guys, I don't see it, so maybe JR has that not on right now. The whole purpose they gifted that sub is everyone in the chat rooms wanted to see the new subscriber wrestler squat on your head in your new position on screen.
Oh.
Because it would look like he's face fucking you at this point.
Oh yeah, but you know what happened? I have everything else. I didn't move that up to the top. Oh man, I feel
he
bad.
hasn't popped up yet at all.
So. Well, he's not going to because I got him all the way down to the bottom.
Sorry,
guys. I'll move it up to the top there. That one I think is.
Sorry, Jackson and Bill. When we get a new subscriber, a wrestling guy pops up usually on top of John's screen, and it like looks like he's like squatting on him because he's like flexing. And now all the
teabagging him.
Yeah, now they want to see it when it's actually on his face.
I'm sorry. You know. Try it again. JJ I just fixed JJ. I can't help it. I'm sorry. I fixed him.
So do you remember? Do you remember that?
I do. So as I recall, and I don't know how many times you worked up there at Benton Station. I worked up there a lot.
I mean, a handful.
Yeah. So basically, the setup for those of you that are watching is that I think it's set. JJ. So basically, what happens is the people
cream will rise to the top. Oh yeah.
Well, that was the cream.
I lost him.
No, it's a new follower. It's a new follower. Sorry. So the setup is that people come to the comedy show before the band plays. This is not an uncommon occurrence.
And there's literally nowhere to set your merch up either.
Oh, so you guys are open for a band.
Well, in essence, we are. There's a little bit of time between, but it's so the people that come to the comedy show.
That's good.
Yeah, not much, but a little. But they have to split it more ways. They have to split it more ways.
True.
Exactly.
But what happens is, so we get there, and there is no place to set up merch. It's just like you got this. Oh yeah, if you want merch, come back and see me by the kitchen, basically. So you never really sell a whole lot of stuff there. People that like you will come up, but yeah, I mean, and it's not the worst setup, but it's that I've ever been in, but it's not the best. And
no, it's not. I hope I didn't make it sound bad because it was fun.
Yeah,
I mean, I've never had a bad show there,
but
it's just different. There's just more shit to deal with.
There's more shit to deal with. There is no policing of the room if it's necessary. So it's definitely on the comics to take care of any kind of problem, any kind of outlandish behavior, heckling, what have you.
Which I am fairly decent at.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not. But it's not fun. It's not fun to do. I mean,
no,
that's not.
You just don't want to deviate for. You don't want to deviate unless you want to. You don't want to deviate because you have to.
That's always one of the huge problems when people, like, I've seen it many times where somebody thinks they're getting heckled and they're maybe not, but then they'll go and they'll start talking to the audience, and there's nothing wrong with it, but there are some people who are skilled at doing that and then drawing the focus back on the material. And there are some people that can talk to the audience, and then they can't get people back on board with them, and so that's the whole thing, and that's why sometimes you hear about this stuff, and it's like it was not a big deal to me, but some people say, "Oh my God, that's the worst room ever. They don't do anything, they don't take care of anything," and it's like, every story is different.
Stop
anyway,
being a little bitch. Do your job.
Yeah, exactly. let's see. What else have we not covered?
It's just so weird how big of a role, like it's weird too how big of a role merch sales plays in those too.
Dude.
Like,
well, it's a
shitty room because I didn't sell anything. Like, you know, sometimes I don't care. I don't care if I sell anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I want to say this because you are the only guy that's ever done this for me, and I still appreciate it. And it's one of the kindest things that anybody ever did for me anywhere. Was after we got done, you told people, "Here's my merch, but if you're going to buy merch, buy his first, because he does the same. He's put in the same amount of work, and he gets paid half what I get paid." And that was one of the kindest things that anybody's ever done for me, and I still appreciate it to this day, and it will always make me just think the world of you, Bill.
Well, I appreciate that, man. It's something that when I started getting more headliner work, you hear all those stories about guys that won't let the opener sell merch, you know? And I always thought that was such a dick move. I've never had somebody tell me I couldn't, but maybe that's because I look like I look. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a guy didn't want to tell me to my face. You know, I used to say, like, anybody ever said that to me, I'm going to hold up a picture of my kid. And this was when he was a toddler. But I'm like, I'm going to hold up a picture of my kid and go, tell me to my face he shouldn't eat, please.
Yeah.
But nobody ever told me no, so it never happened. But, like, I would just hear those stories, and I was like, man, I don't ever want to be that guy. I would rather make sure that everybody eats while we're here. You know, to me, the thing is, if you put it in selfish terms, I probably sell more merch by doing that. It endears me to people.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And I think it helps us both in the end. I think that you sell more because I said it. And then I sell more because they're like, what a great guy. So I think what happens is more people buy both rather than just buy one or the other.
Yep.
Because what I noticed over the years is a lot of people just want to buy one thing. And sometimes they won't buy either because they don't want to feel like they're saying no to the other guy's face.
Right.
So the reason I say that is to just disarm them from that, to where, look, if you just want to buy his shirt, go ahead. It's okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings.
Right.
Like,
right.
Just to make sure that no one loses a sale, you know?
Absolutely. You know, so Jaxon, speaking of merch, is there, so you've got the t-shirt. Are you doing pictures at all?
Yeah, so I got the t-shirts, and I got these soda can koozies with the Jaxon King logo on those.
Okay.
Look at what a face he is, a soda can koozie.
Oops, that's it.
And then I got signed 8x10 and little trading cards.
Nice. Oh, you got trading cards?
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Those
very
things are
cool.
awesome. Yeah.
That's very cool. Jesse,
Real
hi to
cool.
everybody
Yeah.
who... Hi to everybody
who's
who's
just
just...
the Jaxon King flea market after the next IPW show.
Well, holy cow, I definitely will. Do you got a 5X shirt for a fat guy?
He's like,
I can-
no.
Just tell him he can sew two 2Xs together.
Just get a regular shirt.
Have the
and cut
logo on
the
That's
front
only
and the back.
That's only a 4. Thanks, Rudy. I just want to let you guys know we were just raided, which is something that happens here on Twitch, by Corey Adam, and we're going to. Looks like we are about to have a hype train, which means that people are going to start throwing money at us because they like us. But folks, just so you know, we have IPW wrestling star Jaxon King, along with his father, headlining comedian Bill Blank. And the great part about this story is that I've known Bill a while and did not have any idea that his son was a wrestler when I went down to the show. And so we've been enjoying a great conversation. We encourage you guys to Jaxon, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on your social media?
You can follow me on Instagram. It's _ Jaxon King, no caps or spaces, and then I have a Jaxon King Facebook page as well that you can hit me up on too.
Okay, and you're on Twitter also?
I have an account, but I am never on Twitter.
Oh well, that sucks.
Yeah, I'm just never on it. Yeah,
I've done no wonder. I've been DMing you for a week. I haven't. Really? I haven't. No, don't look. I haven't.
No, I always
it'd be really creepy if it was true.
Jackson's like, you what, trying to slide him what DMs, bro?
Oh man, what are you doing, that old man? And Bill, why don't you share with everybody your social media?
Well, I mean, you can go to billblank.com and you can link to all of it, but at billblank1 on Twitter, facebook.com/billblank. Again, billblank.com. Instagram to me is for like chicks and children. So I have an Instagram, but I couldn't even tell you what the handle is. I do nothing on there.
You're supposed to take pictures of your food.
Yeah, it's been to my detriment a bit in the business. I'm just not a good self-promoter. I'm really uncomfortable with it. There's that adage that's just kind of, if you don't promote yourself, nobody's going to do it for you. And it's true, but man, I've just never been comfortable just going like, look at me, how great I am. I mean, trust me, getting on stage in general and my personality attracting attention is a, hey, look at me situation.
Yep.
And I get that, but I'm not comfortable putting it out there like, hey, look at how great I am. I don't know. I don't like to hype myself. It doesn't feel good. But I probably should do it better.
We all should be better at it. And Ace and I talk about that all the time. We had Brad Williams on with us when we switched this over.
I love Brad.
Brad is awesome and spent an hour plus with us. And we had a total of 35 people watching. So it's like, and we should have had more because he was awesome the whole time. But anyway, that's how it goes. If you're not good at promoting, so it's like, and I don't have enough money to get somebody else to do it. So that knows what they're doing. So Jaxon, I have another question for you. So your wrestling gear is blue and white. Any reason you chose those colors?
Basically, I'm just I actually do have a new set of gear that's being made. Blue's always been my favorite color, and I was just trying to, when you're in wrestling, you kind of want to like find a way to find as many ways as you can to kind of stand out. So I was trying to just think of colors that like, tights that are like different from what others have, so that like if they want to remember you but don't remember your name, he was the kid that wore this or that, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah.
And is
so
the new gear blue?
Huh?
Is the new gear blue?
Yeah, so basically the new gear that I'm getting, it's baby blue tights. I'm gonna
my
something a little different. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
there it is.
You saw that like that hooded little boxer vest that he had.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was his. I bought him that for Christmas.
Perfect. So, Bill,
pretty cool.
Do you? Every time you hear the Nature Boy woo, somebody's dropping some dough on us. We have what's called a hype train now. Level 1. Thank you very much, you guys, for hopping on that. We appreciate it.
Whoa, Billy, why are you telling people to stay away from Cowboys colors? Blue and silver is nothing but great. It's America's team.
All right. So
look at my walls.
Yeah, right?
Mm.
Hell yeah.
I was going to say something else now. What the hell was I going to say? Good damn it, I had a good idea.
The cream
is it the dementia?
To the top.
Oh yeah.
It's slowly setting on for him. It really is.
What?
See? Guys, thanks everybody in the chat room keeping the hype train going, and JJ, thank you, brother. So I
the cream.
now I'm getting JR's problems, and now I'm forgetting what I was gonna say, but you got anything else going?
Gear. We were talking about the gear.
Right. What I was going to ask is, what's your summer looking like, Jackson? You got like, is there? Because I mean, obviously, we're in this time where, and for both you actually, because in these last few months, we're now seeing like a lot of places going on with shows now.
Yeah. I'm really excited that that the world's it's gotten safer, with the vaccination and all that. But I'm just really excited that shows are starting to get more up and running, and one of the great things about IPW is that they run a lot of shows in the summer because they also do county
you're
fairs.
Gonna be busy, huh?
So yeah, I'm really excited about that, and I don't really know what all I got coming up, but I'm just gonna basically I try to wrestle as much as I can, so I'm just gonna try and get in the ring as much as I can.
We gotta try to get you up on a show somewhere in Minnesota at some point. But there's a place in Colorado, and maybe JR, maybe eventually someday the 2 Count can present a show like this. But our friends were telling us about the place in Colorado, the promotion that does these wrestling comedy shows where it's stand-up comedy and wrestling. And it sounds weird, but I guess it worked.
We can make that happen for sure. Yeah. There's a club in Colorado Springs called Looney's that I usually headline once a year. So we could probably get those dates to line up, if nothing else.
Should then be
fun.
I
don't remember the promotion. We'll have to ask Erica and Jason about it, but they were telling us about a promotion that runs a show where they do stand-up comedy and wrestling all in the one show. So,
and it seems like Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado is a beautiful and wonderful place. Yeah, man, that would be a lot of fun, and it'd be cool to see Jaxon get up in Minnesota sometime. A lot of cool places up here doing shows right now. So
there's I just saw our friend downtown Petey Brown putting the show on at one of the VFWs here. That's not First Wrestling. He's doing that, and it's MIW. And I can't remember who he said he partners with for those, but
I think it was MAW.
Is it MAW or is it MIW?
I think it's MAW.
Well, anyway,
MAW. Yeah, I've heard of MAW. I know a few wrestlers that have done some stuff up there.
Yeah, it's cool to see the Midwest wrestlers kind of connect. Like you mentioned Brooke Valentine earlier. I know she's made a big presence up in Minnesota at a few different promotions up here in the last couple of years. So.
She's
Go ahead, Jared.
Oh, I was just going to say I interrupted the most inopportune times. First two things on the I can't help it, At the MAW show, the poster is awesome. Downtown Petey Brown's on there with some of the other talent, and then they have a mask, and the mask says El Baño. And I'm like, oh, the bathroom is wrestling. That's what it is in Spanish. And I think to myself, why would you name yourself El Baño? And I mean, it's probably his gimmick. He probably comes out wrapped in toilet paper like the Yeti. I don't know.
There was a band here in Des Moines, a local band that I used to love, and they were called El Baño.
Nice.
But, it's kind of a double entendre.
Speaking of El Baño, there goes Jaxon.
That's exactly it. Gotta go to El Baño.
Oh my gosh! So let's see, where are we at here now? Level 2 is completed. Thank you guys very much, JJ, Billy J. Thank you very much. You've officially got us to level 3. We appreciate it very much. I was going to ask Jaxon. I'll ask him too when he comes back. I'm curious. How many? Well, it's dumb for me to ask it now because he's not here. So, God dang it! You see, this is the thing.
You're going, dude.
This is well, of course you. I mean, it's a professional show.
Right now, me and Bill are like, where are you going with this?
Never mind. Nobody's this. Oh my God! So, Bill, did you just recently work at the Funny Bone in Omaha?
Yes, last weekend or 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
All right, and are you starting to see things pop up? Are you starting to get booked for more things?
I'm starting to get more opportunities. I'm not taking all of them.
Yeah.
The pandemic kind of forced me into finding other means of income.
Right.
So, and the divorce, I kept the house in the divorce, but I have to, get it refied.
Gotcha.
So, you can't really do that with comedy because not exactly a good paper trail.
Nope, it isn't, is it?
You're right.
I had to go legit. So I've for the last year basically. So I'm trying to I'm taking what I can. Omaha, this last time I was there was the third time this year I've been there.
Oh wow.
So it'll be a while before I'm back, I'm sure. I mean, the first two times the club got a hold of me, but this third time Tony Rock brought me, he's contracted to bring his own opener and he brought me. So
nice.
So I did that third week. So it'll be a while probably before I'm back there. And then I've got, the Des Moines Funny Bone, my home club.
Yep.
I can perform there pretty regularly. Mostly what I'm doing right now is just kind of weekend one-nighters. But with those, I'm kind of taking what is, kind of feasible. So, the reality is post-pandemic, it might never get to the point where I can do comedy as my full-time job again.
Yeah.
And I'm actually strangely okay with that right now. Because like I said, I've been on the road for 20 plus years and I'm tired.
Yeah.
So like,
for sure.
Can't agree with you
more.
more.
You get to watch.
Exactly. I want to watch his career blossom. I want to be able to go to all those matches. And, you guys saw I was an obnoxious fucking idiot during that. And I was having so much fun because you get caught up, like we all know what wrestling is, but you get there and it's just the classic story of good versus evil from the Shakespearean days, from the Greek tragedy days. That's what we're looking at. This is theater is what it is.
Yeah.
And if you can just let go of reality enough to just let it consume you, it is so fun. And I feel sorry for people that can't do that. Like when he was getting drug out of the ring, like I'm over there with my hand out. I know he's not going to grab it.
The funniest part of that was like you went to do it, and like a full minute and a half later is when like the other talent started to come over to kind of do the same thing, and it was like, where were you guys like a minute ago? Man? His dad's on it already.
Yeah, exactly. You fucking assholes. Why is this old man got to try to help him? This isn't Little League, bro.
I'll tell you what, the pop when you came out and screwed Mason though was great, Jaxon.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
So great. It was. What is that like for you, Jaxon? Like being like John Cena guy, Oregon guy, growing up, all this stuff. You go to a show like this and you see the little kids there, and they're gonna come up to you and get your autograph and a picture with you because you were just in the ring. You're a superstar. Like. What's that like, man? Because you're still, you said you're 19. That's a young age to start dealing with like fans.
Right. It's
on a whole different level because you got the crazy wrestling fans who we don't care how old you are, and then you got the kids who are looking at you like, oh, you're a hero.
Yeah, it's like it's super cool. Anytime someone comes up to you and want you to sign some and want your take your picture with them, it's just super cool. And like it's just weird because like it's just like, wow, like these people want to take a picture with you. Wow, like these people want you to sign something for them. It's it's also like it's nerve-wracking too because it's just like, okay, don't screw this up, don't make these people think you're an a-hole, you know.
Right.
But it's super, you know, it's super cool, and it's just really humbling to have those people want your autograph and your picture.
I think the hardest part with that is like, you know, when people see you perform, whether it's in a band or wrestling, comic, whatever it is, they assume because they're watching you that you're very well off financially. Everything's, you know, man, I wish I had your life, right? Oh, you're a rich comedian. Well, the reality is I live a lower middle class life to middle class life. I just don't have to deal with a boss, and I don't have to, you know, like, that's all it is. And, you know, for someone like him, you know, who's just getting his feet wet, those little kids think you're the king of the world, but they don't know. Nobody knows what the grind is. Nobody sees the sausage being made, you know? So it's, you feel a little bit uncomfortable when you're signing those because you know that they think you're more than you are. And that can lead to a lot of self-loathing when you're by yourself. So that's a battle that you gotta.
You definitely are correct on that, though. Like, that's the times that's happened to me, I get so weirded out now. Like the first time I noticed it was in Waterloo, the last time we were there with Wes, when like we had the podcast up and running, and people were like, "Oh, you're Big Ace." And it's like, did he tell you to say this? Like, I don't know why. I'm like, shut up. Like, nobody cares. I'm just a guy who talks. You know what I mean? But you know, it's also, those are the opportunities that if you just run with it, it's like, you know, here I am now getting the call matches for this young stud Jaxon King now.
It's a very thin line between being humble and self-loathing. Very thin.
It really is. Yeah, that's a good question, Billy J. Who is Big Ace? But it's cool that you guys have that, though, like as father and son, but also being in really fields that are so parallel. You're going to have that, especially Jaxon, as you get older and you go more into this wrestling career and all this, and you really, because here's a good question: have you had to deal with anyone heckling you from the crowd during a match? Because we already know, Bill, you said you had to handle it. You're good at it. Have you had to handle that yet?
I mean, I've had some people yell some stuff at me, but I just, like, if it's, I think one of the ones that I can remember, I was wrestling in Omaha, and this fan just kept yelling at me that I looked like a 12-year-old, you know, and it was just funny. Like, I just laughed, I just smiled at him, you know, but like, yeah, I haven't really dealt with anything too bad. I haven't
really, like, well, if I was actually 12 and I looked like this, I would have been hammering my teachers in junior high.
Oh my god!
No kidding. No kidding. They'd be kicking ass. Ladies.
I haven't.
This is a very mature 12-year-old.
Yeah, I haven't.
Peach fuzz.
I haven't dealt with anything, you know, too crazy. You know, obviously, you know, wrestling fans, like, including myself, like, wrestling fans, they like who they like, and they don't like who they don't like, and like, you know, people, you know, so far since I've been wrestling, I haven't really had anything like really bad yelled at me. You know, fans will yell stuff, but that's, you know, it's just a good time.
It's a good way to look at it because it's art, and art is subjective.
Yeah.
And people are going to pick, if you go to a comedy show that's an hour and a half long, you got your MC doing 10 to 15, you got your feature doing 25 to 30, you got your headliner doing 45 to an hour, and you throw all that together, people are going to pick their favorite. There's still, doesn't matter how much time they did, there's still 3 comics that they saw. And so there's going to be, out of 300 people at that show, there's going to be 3 or 4 that really like the first guy the best. There's going to be 3 or 4 that like the second guy the best. The majority are going to like the last guy the best because they're supposed to.
Yeah.
But in general, people are going to, you know, that's when you're standing out there next to the guy that opened for you selling T-shirts, and you hear him tell the guy next to you that they were, you know, he was their favorite. You can't get pissed off. It's like, it's subjective. They connected with that guy more.
Yeah.
And the reality is, yes, I headlined that show, and they probably, most of them connected with me more. But some of that has to do with paying attention better. Some of that has to do with just the love that you get initially out of the gate, you know. And some of it has to do with the fact that you really are the best comic out of those three. That's why you're in that position.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's still subjective at the end of the day. So you either, if you're the one getting the compliment, or you're the one feeling slighted by that compliment getting given to someone else, either way, you got to at least keep it in the context of the fact that they like who they like, and that it's just what happens with art. You got to be okay with it.
Yeah.
It's the risk you take when you put yourself out there.
I was going to say, Jaxon, in terms of getting heckled, your in-ring persona to this point is not such that you would yell back at anybody anyway, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so it's I would, and tell me if this is right or wrong, and I don't want to get too goofy, but it seems to me like it would be much easier to be a heel than a face.
I mean, there's kind of like, it's, I guess the best way to say it is like, it's ultimately what you think that you're better at.
Okay.
Honestly. Like, some guys are more comfortable, you know, as a face, and others are more comfortable as a heel. Like, you know, obviously, like, if a fan's heckling you and you're a bad guy, it's a lot easier because you can yell back at them.
Yep.
You know? But, yeah.
If you're a good guy, you're supposed to rise above it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so because we're getting in there, and I don't want to keep these two guys any longer than we have already. Because
I need another drink. We got to wrap this shit up.
Jaxon, here's what. Let's do this, JR. Jaxon, since we have you here, and we're days away from the next wrestling pay-per-view in the world, let's just do a real quick JR. I'll just run through the match card for Double or Nothing for Sunday night. You tell me who you think's going to win. I'll tell you who I think is going to win. Jaxon, let's get your opinion. Bill, if you want to jump in, I know you don't up with the current product, but hey, if you want to just pick a name, pick a damn name. That's cool, man.
Scott Hall.
There it is. There it is. Well, you know, somewhat related to Scott Hall, Buff Bagwell got arrested yesterday or today.
Did he?
Buff was the stuff.
Buff was the stuff.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call Scott Hall in the first match, and in the second match, it will be Razor Ramon.
There it is. I mean, that would be one hell of a pay-per-view. I would take that. All right, so let's get into this. Inner Circle, the Pinnacle, Stadium Stampede. JR, go ahead.
I think that the inner Circle will win.
Yeah, I'm going Inner Circle too. I think it just has the natural vibe of where the story's going. They have to get a win. Jaxon, what do you think, man? I
got the Inner Circle. You know, that's also just me. Because I'm surprised I mentioned this. I'm a, you know, I love Chris Jericho, so always want him to do good. And I've always, you know, I followed Sammy Guevara for a while too. I really like watching him wrestle. That dude can really move, and also and I love MJF also. So I think regardless of who wins that match, it's gonna be, with how much good wrestling and charisma it is with those teams combined, it will be really good.
So Chris Jericho's in the Inner Circle?
Yeah, basically.
I'm going with Inner Circle.
Yeah, Jericho's like kind of like the cult leader, and he's got these other guys with him. He's kind of like their mentor.
I'm with Jericho.
It's gang war. It's gang war.
Perfect.
Just so you have an idea of who Bill, just so you have an idea of who his opponent is and like how heel this guy really is. I went on the Jericho cruise this last time around, and the dude MJF literally stayed in heel character the entire cruise. Like if you saw him in the buffet area and someone's like, "Hey, can I get a picture?" He'll be like, "Fuck you, fat boy." Like, no, every picture that he did with people, even during the actual setup meet and greets, he was flipping them all off. They'd be pushing them off like they were trying to guy is just healed to the core. And it's brilliant.
Yeah, look him up after this podcast. I'm being serious. Like, look him up.
I like it.
Yeah, he's good shit. The TNT Championship, Miro versus Lance Archer. Two big guys going at it.
Miro wins.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with Miro too.
I got Miro.
What you got? Yeah.
I got Miro.
Seems too soon to take that off him now.
What are their names?
Miro.
So it's
Lance
the former.
Archer.
It's the former Rusev from WWE who now goes by Miro in AEW because of copyright against Lance Archer, who really made his name in Japan.
I'm going with Lance. I'm going with Lance Archer because I think Archer is hilarious.
Very true. Great show. And also, Lance Archer does have Jake the Snake Roberts in his corner. So
that's right.
That's a good pick.
I'm still picking Miro.
Yeah. Were you a Jake the Snake fan?
I'm going with Archer. I love Jake the Snake, especially in Beyond the Mat when he's doing the interview and he's like, well, there was this, what the hell?
Yeah,
and he
was so out of it.
He had like fucking chocolate
so
on his shirt.
Out of it, man. I've got.
Oh, I'm gonna do. What the hell is this?
I ran sound for his comedy show a couple years ago, man, and got to like spend a little time with him. He's an interesting fellow, that Jake the Snake.
I opened for Mick Foley.
Oh, nice. That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
Foley's good.
I came out. I said I feel like I'm the guy that's already in the ring. Like I'm just waiting for Mick Foley to come out and hit me with a chair or something.
The jobber guy they bring out, they don't even play his music.
I was like, I'm like the Barry Horowitz of comedy, and I started patting myself on the back. I got huge laughs off of that.
I love the Barry Horowitz references. Adam Hangman Page versus Brian Cage.
God, that's going to be a great match.
I'm going Brian Cage.
I feel, I mean, I was going to say, I kind of feel like Cage wins because it drives Hangman closer to the inner circle or to the Dark Order.
I'm going to go with Hangman. I'm a big Hangman fan, and I love his theme. I love him mainly just because I love his theme song. I don't know why, but I love his theme song so much.
It's a badass theme song. It really is for him.
I'll go with Hangman because it's one of my favorite games to play on a piece of paper.
Nice.
There you go. Hell yeah. Cody Rhodes against Anthony. Is it Ogojo?
Ogogo.
I can never. Ogogo. Whatever.
It's like a go-go, just like going to a go-go.
So what? This is basically being billed USA versus the UK, right?
I mean, Cody's got to win.
I don't know. He might put the new kid over.
Yeah, he's going to cut himself.
Cody wins.
He's going to cut himself. That's for sure.
He's going to have color for sure. I'll go Cody.
I got Cody. I'm a Cody.
I'll go Cody because I know who he is.
Yeah, he's good shit. Then you got the AEW.
Is Sweet Sapphire going to be there in his corner?
God, I wish.
Arn Anderson will be, right?
Yeah, Double A will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Double A will be out there. The women's championship, Sheeta versus Dr. Britt Baker. I mean,
I think they finally put it on Britt Baker.
If she doesn't get it this time around, I don't know what they're doing.
No.
Did you say Dr. Baker?
She is an actual dentist.
Baker. Yeah.
I'm going with the other one because women can't be doctors. That's gross.
No, a dentist. Stupid. A dentist.
Whatever puts a DR period in front of their name. There's only one period that really matters with women. What a crock of shit. No, I'm just being an asshole. I have a Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Hello, ladies.
That came out of nowhere.
I'm Val Venus now. Somebody find me a towel.
I got Dr. Britt Baker.
Hell yeah. She's got to win it, man. That girl is killing it right now. And then you got the AEW, World Championship. Omega versus Orange Cassidy versus Pac.
Yeah, Kenny keeps the title.
Yeah, I think so too, unfortunately.
I got Pac.
Ooh, I like it, though. I like it. Pac is, if they're going to go out of those three, I'd see Pac being the guy that can hold that title. But they are also favoring Cassidy with the whole stolen sunglasses. So
right.
I'll go with Pac because I love 90s rap.
Oh, yeah. Love it. So yeah, that's the card. I think JR, we're gonna try to do an actually in person, like us on the same camera in the same room, maybe pre-show stream before that, because we're gonna be testing out some of our stuff so we can make sure that we're good to go for the June 12th show in Des Moines, Iowa at the Forte Center for the IPW show, where again, if you cut your tickets now, you can be there to watch Jaxon King get his revenge on Mason Reaper.
And I
already bought 15 ringside, baby.
Hell yeah.
There are no more ringside left. You bought them all.
Side of town behind.
Oh yeah, the ringside sold out.
I did.
Yeah.
I bought the rest of them.
Hell yeah.
Jesus Christ. Bill Blank is the AMC of IPW wrestling tickets. He's got them all. He holds the float.
I'm Ticketmaster. I'm gouging my family.
Oh, I love it. So yeah, that's gonna be. We'll be doing that on Sunday. Since it's a holiday weekend, you're gonna come down and we're gonna do that. So that everybody make sure you join us Sunday night. I think it's a 7 o'clock pay-per-view, so we'll probably go at like 5. Sorry.
Yeah, whatever. I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Everybody will figure it out. Holy cow.
Bill Blank, it's Troy Peterson's favorite person.
So hey, thanks for having us on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
It was a great time. First time I got to do something with this idiot. So
we look forward to having you guys on with us again in the future, anytime. Because this was an absolute blast. And please, both of you, let us know if we can do anything to help you out in any way. We're more than happy to do it. And Bill,
send 20 grand tomorrow.
Well, okay, in almost any other way.
He's definitely speaking for himself right now.
Yeah, there you go. Bill,
20 grand's involved.
Bill Jaxon will send you a link, and you can let people watch this after the fact afterwards. But again, thank you guys so much for being on with us. We appreciate it so much.
Yeah, and Jaxon, I'll make sure we're going to be down there early, so I'll make sure to grab you so we can talk a little bit more just for commentary purposes for that show.
Absolutely, man.
Hell yeah.
Awesome,
gotta put you over, brother. So yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun. So again, everybody else hanging out, thank you for hanging out with us. So Wes and I do have a show, which real quick, by the way, I don't think we talked about Dynamite from last week, did we? JR?
No, we really didn't.
So just I real quick want to just say that the Serena Deeb Red Velvet match was the match of the night.
I agree.
Velvet, I mean, both of them really just killed it. So it was good stuff. So I just want to make sure I said that on here. But yeah, me and Wes have a show dropping this week on the VOC Nation. Make sure you check it out. Briscoe and Big Ace show. Velvet's on it for a minute, so you'll hear her or see her, whether you're on the audio or video version. But check it out at vocnation.com. Again, the Briscoe Big Ace show.
If you talk to her the next time, let her know that the other half of the 2 Count show appreciates what she's doing as well.
I will let her know.
No, you won't. You'll fuck me over like you do every other time that something comes down.
I've never fucked you over.
Yeah, I know it's true, but I like to.
Plus, on top of that, if things go as all planned, you can tell her face to face in Waterloo in July.
That'll work out perfect. For folks, all of you that are watching, Billy J, JJ, Rudy. All of you guys, we appreciate it so much. Danny, Sheboygan Dan, I don't know who all's watching because I can't keep track of it all. But we appreciate it very, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, have absolutely shit going on the rest of the week other than being on with Corey Adam tomorrow at about noonish. And then also on Thursday. Otherwise, I don't have much going on until July.
And Dan, I'm sending out your Funko Pop either tomorrow or Thursday. So I'll shoot you a message when I actually ship it out.
For those of you who may be interested, I'm going to try to start doing more stuff. I know I've talked about it before. I'm going to try to start doing some more stuff on this channel as well, just to keep myself occupied. But we appreciate all of you very, very much. Billy J, it's the evening. It's official. Thank you very much for your support, all of you guys. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.